Hello everyone, and welcome to the last, but absolutely not the least match of the OSU World Cup Finals week. It is time for the winners final today, featuring two teams whose journeys here over these past few years and few weeks this year are about as different as possible. On one side, you have the United States seeking an unprecedented fourth straight title and their seventh straight top two finish, which is really a display of dominance that's unheard of in Ozu or in pretty much any other esport. They're going to be taking on Team Germany, team in their first winners final since all the way back in 2014, looking for their first ever championship here in OWC. This is, of course, a rematch of last year's grand final, which the United States won in a tiebreaker. These teams look about as different as you can imagine, though, from their last year's roster. Germany looking to have their best chance at a win yet. I'm this one guy. Joining me today in the booth is going to be Chilier. Chilier, looking at these teams, what stands out to you about these rosters? Who do you think their difference makers are today?
Well, we've got some new players, as you mentioned. Again, the rematch from last year. I think we've talked about it a couple of times over the course of the tournament, but the United States actually replacing 5 of their 8 players from the previous roster last year, losing Kablaze, BTMC, Apraxia, Vaxe, and Rectigon. They have new roster additions never before played in the tournament: Aris and Exarch, Takedo, and Utami, and of course returning Digital Hypno. So we've got a fairly different United States team compared to Germany. Only 2 roster replacements this year. They will be switching out Neox, and Smarty from that second place roster last year will be joined by Kriller and KHZ. Now that Kriller edition, likewise with the United States editions of players such as Utami, is a big factor in this match here. It changes the way that these teams decide to pick. They're losing a little bit of skill sets for Neox and Smarty, but they're joined by Kriller and KHC, bringing in some of those streams. Kriller with an all-rounder. Of course, the United States team as well. They are bringing in Arison. You've got some speed there. You got the hidden Takedo, all-rounder Utami, Exarch all-rounder. Digital Hypno comes in for all the gimmicky fun stuff. So some very, very interesting roster changes that I think will make for a more exciting match.
Yeah, this year, you know, it's interesting to me because it's a little bit feel of, you know, the more things change, the more they stay the same. For all of the changes, for all of the discussion of how different these rosters are this year, you still see a United States that's leaning into the gimmickier maps, and you still see a Germany that's leaning into the mechanics. And already we're seeing that reflected in the bans very quickly. United States banning out Nomads 2 and 5, so getting rid of those speed stream stamina picks and Nomad pool. Germany saying, you know what, we're going to get rid of the low AR hidden, we're going to get rid of the free mod pick. And USA hopping right into a very quick Hard Rock 3. Again, they're really going to see that identity, I think, really crystallize today of a team that's super good at all sorts of gimmick and all sorts of tech-type picks. And against a German team that has looked pretty good across the board. They have looked really dominant in their matches coming into this winners final. But I do think that if the United States is going to win, it's going to be on the back of their gimmick performance. And if Germany is going to win, it's going to be on the back of their mechanics. I think those team identities are pretty well set in stone at this point.
Well, absolutely. We'll see what the skill sets kind of boil down to today. I think, again, with the teams like Germany and the United States, you have so many players that are proficient at these late round stages that you don't really have... it's harder to pick which team is going to go between these picks because you have so many comfortable faces in here that there's less back and forth, and, you know, like, oh, Germany or the United States picks this map, and it definitively goes over to them because it's their pick and it's their skill set. But in this matchup, you can put up a roster that the United States is right now, Fiery Rage, Utami, and then, you know, figure out the last 2 players, but then they got to go up against Kriller and White Cat and Dust Ice and Hollow Watcher and players that are really just going to hold you off for the entirety of the map.
Yeah, these are such scary rosters, man. Like, both these teams just put together incredibly strong lineups for basically any map that you can throw at them. I mean, obviously, you know, as discussed over the course of this entire tournament and coming into it, you know, United States losing Vaxe, he's an unreplaceable player. You can't replace a guy of that stature. So, you know, Germany coming in, maybe some of these picks that, you know, you could put in Vaxe and expect to get, you know, a 600-800K score on. Germany doesn't have to worry about that in this matchup. So as we get into Hard Rock 3 here to get things started, it is going to be a fun match. I think this is going to be one of the most competitive ones we're going to see if all goes according to plan. Starting off, Fiery Rage, Utami, Fancy Lad, Area, United States first pick, Hard Rock 3, taking on Kriller, White Cat, Hollow Watcher, and Dust Ice.
If last year's Grand Finals match is any indication of how close this match could potentially be, especially with the roster changes from the United States, we are in for quite the treat. here. We do have the Hard Rock coming in to start here. Hard Rock 3. Kriller's going to find the first break here. This is another one of those maps that Germany had players like Smarty on last year that were very, very proficient in this skill set. So to be able to replace Smarty for the roster this year and still have a 4-man that can come out here and perform this highly, Kriller not quite having the best of times here, about a quarter of the way through the map so far.
Yeah, Hello Watcher is going to find the second break for Germany. This map is very, very difficult, as you see Airyu finding the first miss for USA. You saw a ridiculous score from South Korea on this last night. Don't know if either of these teams is going to love to it. Utami, Airyu, Hello Watcher, Kriller, and Dust Ice all finding breaks, so it is just White Cat left for Germany. Meanwhile, Fiery and Fancy Lad, those anchor players for the United States, you know Fiery is going to come in on Hard Rock and be ready to go. Fancy Lad likewise on anything tech. It's a bit of a lead already getting established here, 200K for the United States. Feeling good on their first pick, it looks like.
Looking pretty good as a team, too. Utami did find that break right before this slower section here, but Dustus was right there to trade it out. It's Fancy Lad with the high accuracy as usual. We've seen him the entire tournament perform very well on these types of picks, especially with Hard Rock, and of course Fiery Rage maintaining that consistency. White Cat doing what he does best for Germany right now. Kriller trying to put up a supporting combo to make up for those earlier breaks. Hollow Watcher, one of the more proficient Hard Rock players on the team, does find a break, but Fiery Rage trades it out. It's White Cat and Kriller versus Fancy Lad Utami right now. The combo lead is in the favor of Germany, but they're running out of map. They need another break from the United States, and with Dust Ice continuing to find breaks here, I don't know if they're going to have that wiggle room.
Yeah, I think this one is too far to the USA side. Fancy Lad holding off White Cat, Utami with enough combo to keep things in track for the United States, and they are going to take that first pick 1-0 on the back of Fancy Lad, casually as you like, pulling out the full combo to match White Cat. Nearly identical accuracy between those two, both at 97% plus. Very good plays from those guys. The supporting scores, though, just a little stronger. That 700K from Fiery really making the difference. 2.6 million, a very strong team score for the USA, but Germany proving that they can hang with. I mean, only a 230K deficit, really not the end of the world on your opposing team's first pick.
Well, it's about as close as you like on a 4v4 tournament pick against your team there. That was the United States' opening pick. So, you know, as awesome as both of these teams are, and again, there is complete back and forth potential between these two teams here. You do, in some aspects, expect to see the picking team be more comfortable on the maps that they choose. Germany and the United States have experienced enough players and captains to know exactly the directions that they want to go for both their players and against the opposite teams. And I think that is going to prove to be useful to them in this match here. But at the same time, it can sometimes be a crutch. You do overthink things sometimes, especially in pressure situations. You can start to kind of overanalyze your, like, what is the potential of this situation happening in the United States and Germany? While we haven't really had a chance to see it yet, we can certainly expect to see the possibility of that later on in the match. We'll see what happens with any breakpoints or something of the like. But a DT3 for Germany is a smart pick for them. I don't think there's any reason that we should be questioning Germany's speed. They've looked good on it the entire tournament. The United States, certainly no shortage of speed players here. But again, Germany on their own pick tends to be fairly strong here.
Yeah, I mean, looking good, I think, for Germany is a bit of an understatement. They have looked pure and simple dominant on these speed picks over the course of this tournament. Their roster for these maps like the Nomad 5, Double Times 2 and 3, those rosters have been unstoppable. I mean, they're putting up 4 million points after 4 million points on these types of maps. The United States pretty commonly banning out Nomad 2. That's the type of map they almost never leave available for their opponents. But banning out both the Nomad stamina stream picks means that Germany gets their pick of all 4 double times. USA going to have to rely on Eris in that addition to the team this year. We know he's that kind of late round insurance for these types of maps, but a little bit prone to the one miss curse. We see him, he'll have 99.7, 99.8 accuracy and just miss somewhere at random. So hopefully he can avoid that fate here. But this is a solid first pick and an expected one, I think, for Germany going into a 270 BPM AR 10.3 that's already found 2 breaks on the USA side.
Not super comfortable for the USA, possibly on the AR. The accuracies on Utami and Airyu do suggest that they're okay, but as the map continues progressing, you do kind of see maybe that stamina gate start to come through here. Tommy and Air, you both dropping the accuracy down. Meanwhile, Germany, a confident 4FCs, fairly high AC on everyone. Okinamo's the lowest at 97. KHC does finally fall below 99. Rising, another one of those players, was on the team last year. Didn't perform to an exceptional level, I think, as much as he wanted to. And coming in this year and looking really good on this DT3 alongside Dustus right now, matching Arson and Fancy Lad, but it is just Aryu and Utami doing the damage for the United States here. And as we start to approach that last quarter of the map, these breaks from the United States are going to run this time down here. Rising now the only break, and there goes Fancy Lad, and that's just it. Germany with an exceptional first pick here.
Yep, you knew that this was what was going to happen, I think, and exactly as expected. Arison coming in and putting up the score that you would expect of him for the United States, but it's just meaningless as Dust Dice and Okinamo are going to both FC. And there you go, another 4 million point score on another late round DT pick for Germany. That is just what they do. This is their skill set. This is what they're best at, and you can't ban it out. When there's 4 maps that they're going to be able to do things like that on, you can't get rid of all of them if you're trying to ban against this team. So it's just leaving up the least of the evils and knowing you're probably going to take an L on one or another of them. 4 million points on a finals DT3. Yeah, that's just what happens when you're a team like Germany and United States going in just expecting that and knowing that it's coming and saying, okay, we'll take our knocks and go on to the next pick because that's their first pick. It's their best map. And we can go find something else. They're going to run out of those picks eventually, hopefully, for the United States. And they're going to go say, we're going to go from speed to finger control. And they're going to go back over to the Nomad pool and open that up with Nomad 6.
Nomad 6, a strong pick for the United States traditionally in the tournament so far. A big change from that DT3 there. You mentioned 4.1 million team score. This is finals, by the way, everyone. Still putting up 4 millions for every million score that Germany put up. However, Arison put up only 1/100, so we're looking at some crazy finishes to these maps here, and Nomad 6 will be no exception. This one, possibly a little bit more favored to the United States than the first pick, even in the minds of a lot of people who have been keeping up with this tournament. The United States has, up till this point, had a Nomad 6 or Gimmick roster, for that matter, that has basically just stumped every single team in this tournament. Most just don't know how to deal with it super well, and we're going to have to see if Germany is going to be one of the very few teams that could maybe crack the code of that, potential just guaranteed pick roster that the United States tries to put up for this map here. There's really not too much that teams have done about it.
I will note, though, United States picked Nomad 6 last week in their semifinal against Hong Kong and did lose it. It was quite close, but Hong Kong managed to eke that point out. So United States not infallible on these Nomad 6 picks, but I think, judging from what I've heard over the course of the week, they are feeling pretty confident with this particular one. So as you said, teams seeing the United States roster for the Nomad 6, kind of just expecting them to perform well. We have seen Germany banning Nomad 6 in at least one of the previous rounds earlier this tournament, but maybe this finals one a little more to their liking, a little more willing to leave this up. So we'll see if they can put out some good scores on it, but definitely USA favored, as with, the kind of gimmick maps throughout this pool. I almost feel like this is going to come down to kind of which team runs out of picks first, because you have very opposed primary skill sets for the two teams. So we'll see who can make their pool last the longest. So we're going to get in Nomad 6 here. Map number 3, tied up 1-1 after the first picks for each team.
Well, we've had a strong run so far here. This is most notably, if you're looking between these two teams so far as well, just in the grand scheme of things for this tournament, the United States has only dropped 5 points over the course of the entire tournament so far. Likewise with Germany, only dropping 2 points every single match to the teams that they have been playing against. So you have two teams that traditionally just don't lose their map. So this puts you in a very different scenario when you're going against a team who is full well capable of taking a break point against you, and I think the nerves are going to be running a little bit higher for some of those players. in this match that aren't quite as used to it, and I wonder if that's going to have an effect on maybe some of these more, technically intensive maps.
Yeah, you can really see the effects of nerves on maps like this one, especially with the length. I mean, over 3 minutes long, and you're throwing people in their first ever OWC finals into this sort of tricky, demanding pick that is in a niche that a lot of people aren't super comfortable with. So we'll have to see if the performances live up to expectations. So far, so good for all 8 players in the early goings here. So it's going to remain very close. Fancy Lad is going to be the first break coming off of the United States side, but Kriller follows up, as does Okinamo. The United States now 3-2 FC lead, about a third of the way into the map.
A rough set of breaks for Germany. Map is not quite over yet. A very, very slight score lead, but that break from Ombre is definitely going to push it over to the US now. That is 1 FC to 3, and some rather similar accuracies for both teams means that they're not getting any bonus score on the US right now, but they're certainly going to run away with those combos.
Yeah, the accuracy, actually, though, both on Fancy Lad and Taquito, despite the break from Fancy Lad, 97 AC doing better than anyone on Germany. Taquito, 97 AC as well for him. Both of those players lapping the competition. That's going to help just pull away a little bit more for the USA here as we go through the middle portion of this pick. And it is still 3 FCs to just the 1. Whitecat doing his job as you would expect, but he needs help from his team. He needs help from USA finding a break somewhere, or that lead is going to continue to grow, 300,000 plus. Here as we go towards the last quarter. There's a break from Taquito. That's going to give Germany a little bit of help.
It might be just in time for the help that they needed there. There are some massive supporting combos on the side of Germany right now, so that break from Taquito is actually gonna put this right down the middle for the two teams, but Kriller finding another break there. Not gonna be doing any favors for Germany, and I think they're just slowly out of time here. A 400,000 score gap between the two teams, which basically implies that Whitecat FC's the rest of the map, and the United States gains no more score. But even with the backing from Okinamo and Ombre, I just don't think it's enough here. And the United States, again, continuing to remain strong on these no mod 6 picks. Again, not without contention on this one. Fiery Rage finding a break at the end. It will be a little bit closer, but regardless, they've held off for long enough. The United States will kind of keep a fairly winning track record here. Almost 3 million score, but Germany not too far behind.
Yeah, USA is again going to feel, I think, decently comfortable with that. Utami finishing out the FC. Whitecat, the top score there, 97 AC FC from him. As I said, arguably the best player in terms of just raw skill in this lobby, but showing he can play some of the gimmick stuff as well. So that'll be one to keep an eye on. But USA, just better across the board. You know, that's again, that supporting score a little bit higher for them, much like it was previously on Hard Rock 3. And, you know, so far, so good for both teams. Just playing to kind of the expected levels here. That will be about what they want to see. You know, Germany, if they can just keep pace on the USA's really strong picks, they're not going to feel too shabby. USA, though, some of the top front runners in the world, you know, you see them get ahead. They rarely give up an advantage over the course of a match. So always concerning if you drop a break point or if you give them a couple point lead, they can just run away with matches. But Germany, early on in this match, you know, so just going to see what they can do with their second pick. If they can find another strong one. It's probably, I got to think, another DT. This is probably DT1 or DT2.
They should remain within that speed pool if at all possible. I think it's their best shot of taking some early points against the United States, but their hesitation in picking here does suggest something different, and it certainly is with the HR Precision pick against the United States. However, you know, if we've seen the United States at work on these precision picks over the course of the tournament, they have certainly been more vulnerable than a lot of other slots here, and, you know, that could be speaking to small circles in general. Slightly smaller than the conventional CS 6.5 picks. I think that you see a lot of time in this slot. Going a little bit closer was a 6.9 for CS 5.4.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna double check on that. Let's see.
Between 6.8 and 6.9.
This is CS 7.02.
Okay.
Unless, assuming, I don't believe it got changed since this. I believe it is 7.02. Very small circles.
Yeah.
And the US, not a team that traditionally plays a whole lot of Hard Rock. They didn't play a single HR pick last week against Hong Kong. I think they did play 2 of the 3 against the United Kingdom, but they were both United Kingdom picks back there in the quarterfinals. So, they're not willingly picking into this skill set of their own accord. And, Germany last year got some points in that grand final on Hard Rock and Precision. So looking to do much the same here again in the finals this year.
Yeah, I do wonder if the German roster here is trying to go for maybe more contested picks to start this match off here. I think if you're Germany, and we talk about how confident they are, even on speed against a team like the United States with players like Arison running on the roster, they still have a fairly confident 4-man roster for that I think they can, at least guarantee 1 or 2 more picks out of a speed pool in general. I think that if you're ever going to take risks, it's this early in the match, especially when, the requirement of winning is a 7-point victory in this best of 13. It leaves you that wiggle room for later. It's almost like if we figure out that we can do precision now, this possibly opens up a free mod later. It opens up something a little bit more aim control based, and I think that if this works out for Germany, it could benefit them very heavily in the long run. If not, they do risk going down 4-1 potentially, but that's not the worst situation if you think you have a couple guaranteed picks left. But I feel like this is all speculation for now because we've been surprised by much, much smaller things.
Yeah, I think, get this out of the way early. If you win it, like you said, it opens up some other options. If you lose it, you still have a couple of DTs to fall back on if you want to go back into the raw mechanics. If Germany wins this pick, then they might be thinking, okay, we've got free mod 2, which is the small circle free mod pick as well available. So this is a very much kind of an info gathering pick. And it's one that I think they expect to be quite strong on. But United States, no slouches. They are going to bring in Exarch for the first time. Fiery, Utami, Fancy Lad, all pretty solid on these precision picks. But, Germany historically very, very good at precision hard rock. Traded breaks early on, Utami and Dust Ice. Exarch following up with the next. It's going to be a little bit of an early lead here for Germany. Hello Watcher holding on to that SS, the first couple hundred combo. That'll be something to keep an eye on as well. That accuracy advantage for Germany already starting to grow as Utami's down at 95%, and Fiery was briefly below 98%.
Utami has not traditionally been the strongest hard rock player for the United States, but Fancy Lad finding a break, that's another big one for Germany here. They're going to continue on with these 3 FCs, but Utami has made some big improvements in his hard rock in the past couple of months here. It used to be, something that you would have never seen Utami in, especially for a precision hard rock pick. So the United States being able to utilize a player like that on a map like this is certainly something that I think they're trying to take advantage of here. That one break is not going to be the end of the world. However, a double break. Yeah.
Fiery Exarch break. The map is actually over, by the way. It's 2.5 minutes on. We're halfway through. It is still a 3-way full combo and a huge backing combo for Germany. This is actually already reaching a point where unless there's a full reset for Germany, the map may well be over.
White Cat just hit that with 99.6.
Yep. Hello Watcher and Just Ice did both break, but White Cat and Kriller. Okay, Kriller breaks. Wait. It's halfway through. There's just no combo for the United States, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah,
they have nothing to fall back on. And White Cat, by the way, 99.67 AC FC. He is feeling himself today on these maps, looking good to start this match off.
Over-aim.
Finally find the break with a little over-aim. Fortunately for him, no damage will be done because the United States just doesn't have any combo to take advantage of. So the precision pick looking to work out well here for Germany.
Yeah, it's just Fancy Lad left over for the United States, but he's got a battle against Dust Ice and Kriller, who both have comparable accuracy, if not better, on Dust Ice right now. Fiery Rage continuing to find a couple extra breaks here in this latter half of the map alongside Utami. Exarch gonna try and put up a combo here to maybe match up, and there goes Fiery once again. It's the German team with Dust Ice and Kriller holding it out at the end of the map here. White Cat did whatever he could to hold it at the beginning. Kriller gonna make up for that earlier break here, and we are going to finish off with a very, very confident victory for Germany. That's actually the biggest score lead we've seen on a map thus far, 736,000, almost 737,000, besides that DT3 pick, just over 1.1 million here. So Germany has had much larger score leads than the United States on their own picks today.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, kind of what that says for the rest of the match. United States, I think, picking a couple maps that will typically be a little closer. That the Hard Rock 3, which is hard to get an amazing team score on. Nomad 6 likewise. Germany just picking into their own skill sets and looking really good. That is a 99.35 back, 1 miss from Whitecat, 760k. Not a score to be ignored from him to lead Germany on that pick. So I think, that's going to say to them, we can pick Hard Rock, we can pick small circles, and United States is going to have to come up with an answer, because that effectively means there are a couple of skill sets that Germany is looking a lot better than the United States on in the early goings here.
It certainly is. And as a team, Germany just had a better performance on that map. You see it very rarely between teams like this, but Germany, on all 4 players, had higher scores than the matching 4 players on the United States. There was not a single player on Germany that had a lower score than someone on the United States there. So, I mean, that says quite a bit about your team confidence on that map as a whole, but it is no mod 4 time. It's the Mazarin. I don't want to call it the Mazarin Ramsing map, but that's almost what this is, because most people will know what Ramsing is, I feel like.
Yeah, Ramsing is a nice comparison. I have jokingly called this map Ramsing 2 in the past, because it is basically just a spiritual successor to...
The artist name is Ram.
And the artist name is even Ram, so I mean, what more needs to be said about that? It is a slider aim to the max type of pick. And this is, again, the United States following their trend, leaning into these niche gimmick skill sets throughout their picks. But, the variance on a pick like this is really high. Nomad 4, much like that Tech Hard Rock 3, you have a very high chance of having a relatively poor showing. Just a couple slider breaks here and there between one run and the next can be the difference between 700k and, something like 350, 400k. So it makes it a very dangerous sort of pick, but as expected, United States remaining within that comfort zone that they feel they have against this German roster.
Well, let's see if they can abuse that consistency and that comfortable play styles here. You're going to have Fiery Rage coming back in for this one. I'd be surprised to not see someone like Fancy Lad in for this as well. Potentially Taquito as the last player for the United States. That's always, but it is Airyu, so there is that last one. Digital Hypno's actually going to be joining them for this map here. He's a very strong slider player. I kind of think back to, I don't know how many years ago it was now, but going through the rankings on maps like Tiger Blood and seeing Digital Hypno with a double S on that map before there was FCs, and I guess that speaks to the confidence there. But the United States going to continue to be really, really biased towards these more tech and gimmick skill sets. Germany gonna stick with the mechanics, possibly the precision, a little bit more on that side here. So this is, mechanics versus technical skill sets here. And we'll see if they keep that trend.
And this is the type of map, despite being still pretty early on in this match, this is the type of map that could represent a turning point in this match if the United States drops a break point here on something that they're just expected to be far stronger than their opponents on with a tech slider aim map. If they have a somewhat poor showing, if anybody on this team underperforms to expectations, that's a rough spot to be in. So got to be on the lookout for any little hiccups that they may have. We do see a couple breaks early on. Airyu, Okanamo, and Digital Hypno on his first map of the day, finding an early break. So 3 SCs to 2 right at the beginning here for Germany. Going to take an early lead once that combo outweighs the active.
There goes Digital Hypno and Kriller to match up. Dustin's found a very early break in the map as well.
All right, so United States going to hold on for now. That Kriller break helping things out. Whitecat, once again, in doing his job. The lone remaining FC already for Germany against Fiery and Fancy Lad. 2 of the best tech players in the world over there on that USA roster. But Whitecat, known for his mechanics, but very good at a lot of different things. I think he gets kind of underrated because people think of him as, kind of that aim and speed player, but he is quite good at this sort of thing as well. And he is showing that here so far, keeping up with the opposition. Airyu and Dust Ice, though, trading a couple breaks, so it's going to be remaining in favor of the USA for the time being.
Very close here. Airyu and Dust Ice continuing to trade Fiery Rage and Fancy Lad, both with disgusting accuracies right now. Whitecat not far behind, but there goes Fancy Lad. That's pretty big for Germany, but Kriller finds a big break as well. That's going to keep it in favor of the U.S.
It's a 2v2, and Germany just took the lead. Digital Hypno finds the break. Fiery Rage is the lone combo remaining for the United States. It was 2v2 between him and Digital Hypno against Whitecat and Okanamo, but now Germany with the advantage. But Okanamo finds a miss aim, and it is now a 1 versus 1 Fiery Rage against Whitecat. who can maintain this full combo longer, both reaching up over 500k as we get into the last quarter of the map. Very similar in all facets. The accuracy about the same, but the United States backing combo on Fancy Lad and Airyu doing work for them as Kriller and Dustin break, but there goes Fiery. And Digital Hypno.
Digital Hypno, that's a big break for the US there. There's no backing combo. Whitecat breaks!
He had the opportunity to try to make a single person comeback, but unfortunately it's not meant to be, as there goes Dust Ice as well. And Fancy Lad looks like he's going to be able to bring this one home for the United States here into the ending.
Look at that. From the beginning to the end, Fancy continuing to maintain the accuracy. Whitecat doing whatever he could for this map again. For the German team here, just not quite able to keep up. We'll see what happens into the ending here, but it is well over for the United States. The score lead just far too high. Kriller, despite having a little bit of internet issues here, was not going to be able to pull up enough score for them to win, and the United States does win with a final victory margin of 306,000 score in their favor. Again, kind of keeping the same score margin here. 306,000, 381,000, 233,000. They're kind of hovering right around that range for everything here. So it's a decent score margin. It's a comfortable one, but it's not like damning for the German team here. It's not, we can't possibly take this later on. If we maybe see, these two teams face off again in the grand finals like last year, there are a lot of points here that could go either way still. But the Germans definitely seem like they have those more confident picks right now, or at least more favored.
Yeah, Germany on their first two picks, winning them by massive margins compared to what the USA has done. But, the scoreline's really all that matters. It's a 3-2 lead nonetheless. All teams have won all their picks so far through the first 5 maps. And, that bodes well for both teams. It's competitive. It's the smallest little things. I just want to real quick shout out Whitecat. By the way, we know he's a top player, but he has top scored every map he's been in for. As, so far, he's played 4 of the 5 picks. He was 2,000 points shy of Fancy Lad on the first map, so a little bit behind top scoring all of them, but the other 3, he has been at the top of the lobby. And when you get a player that is as good as he is on a day like this, that can be a huge boost to your team. And Germany going to go back to the mechanics. It's going to be double time 1, Nippon Ego Hyake, the Air 10.3 DT aim pick.
Banger into banger. Let's go. It's time. This is again another Germany favored pick, I think, very heavily here. That 10.3 aim, while it is not an issue for the United States, I think Germany is going to be an issue for the United States on this map. Their roster for these DT aim picks, especially at these higher ARs, have traditionally been more comfortable than most other teams in this tournament. We even talked about teams like the UK having such a strong speed roster, and, they were one of the better teams for this. And then Germany, I think, just kind of makes everyone look bad at this because of how strong they are.
Yeah, Germany's late round DT rosters are a force to be reckoned with on really any of the 4 DT picks in a given week. They're just going to come out and put up points. It's the Steph Curry. They just come out and shoot threes and they don't miss. They're putting up that 4 mil like it's just a casual sort of map, rather than being here in the OWC finals. But we'll have to see. I think of these DTs, the DT1 might be the most contested, if only because it trends more into aim than into raw speed and stamina, like a DT2 or a DT3 might do. And with aim comes the possibility of missing a little more easily than with just a left-hand mechanic. So I think this one might be a little closer than the double time we saw previously.
I think it's all about that consistency today, and I think, if we're really coming down to aim consistency, it's hard to pick a winner between these two teams because, you look on the German roster and you do have players like Whitecat who will just rock out aim maps like they're 3 stars, but the United States team, I think year after year, they come in, and even on maps like Nomad 1 and all those other basic aim picks, I feel like they always end up underperforming from expectations on that. And I don't know if that's something with consistency or nerves or just being able to replicate performances from practice scores. But I think that in terms of favoring Germany thus far on these DT speed picks, they do have a decent advantage coming into this. But, like you mentioned, anything's possible in the trade at the beginning.
Let's say, get a couple very early breaks. And yeah, the US historically is not a mod pick number 1 team. Nomad 1, Hidden 1, Hard Rock 1, DT 1. Like, that's just not what they trend toward. And so I don't know if maybe they just don't put in, the kind of time and effort on practicing those picks because they know they're not going to pick them themselves. But, it can come back to bite them a little bit. You see Tommy and Fire Rage both finding breaks, but there goes Rising as well as Dust Dice. So it's going to stay close. See what Fancy Lad and Area you can do against White Cat, the only FC for Germany, but Okanamo, that solid backing combo. Looks like Utami was, in fact, a Bancho miss, so that was not a break for Utami. And he is still holding on, which is going to help the United States take a little bit of a lead here.
Okinamo's last break right there was an actual miss, however, which is even going to further favor the United States team here. Fiery Rage and Okinamo continuing to trade. They're basically non-factors in this match right now. It really is between those 3 FCs on the United States team and those 2 supporting combos on the German team. They need to be able to hold those and hope that the United States finds a break. We do know how this goes. You start to pass that halfway point in the map and you get to that danger zone here and he misses. There is a pretty big jump section right here. Let's see if we see any breaks from anyone. It has to come from the U.S. team if Germany wants to pull back into this. It's just Fiery.
Fiery Rage is kind of having a bit of difficulty on this map, but fortunately it's not all that important yet. It will, though, start to be if Okanamo can pull away from him. That is the closest player at about 80k now above Fiery, but the Triple FC on Utami Rising and Dust Dice, that might just have ended Germany's chances of winning this pick. White Cat is at a 1x100 FC as Airyu finds a break, but Utami and Fancy Lad both have full combos, and it is just White Cat and Okanamo with combo for Germany. United States with a 300k lead, look to be on the verge of taking the first break point in the match.
Airyu did slow things down a little bit by finding a miss there. The United States was gaining about 100,000 score every 3 seconds there. And Airyu did slow that a little bit, but regardless, they needed a break from Utami and Fancy Lad as well. White Cat can't pull it back by himself, even with, 1x100?
Yeah, White Cat is having a day. It is unbelievable how well he is playing, but unfortunately just does not have the score he needs from his team, and that's going to be breakpoint United States by 300k. They're going to take a 4-2 lead going into the next pick. White Cat, though, man, 1x100 FC on a finals map, he can just do it all. This guy is playing out of his freaking mind in this match.
Oh my god. This is the definition of stepping up to the plate for White Cat right now. It's HD3 immediately from the United States, but Germany not out of this by any means yet. It's just that slight overall team performance drop that they've had on the past few picks that are starting to create a couple of issues here for them, but the United States gonna try to run with this HD3. They've been really good at the hidden picks the rest of this tournament, and I think they're gonna try and close out a break point here. Germany not quite as strong traditionally on these hidden maps, but that being said, this is an Ice Cult map, which means that you don't know what the heck's going to happen during this.
Yeah, this map goes absolutely insane. It throws so much technical difficulty at you. And, I think back to last year in the grand finals, United States saved Hidden 1 for their last pick, which was another very technically demanding hidden pick, and Germany ended up taking it, and that's what sent that match to a tiebreaker. If Germany is going to get back into this match, they need performances like that one here again today, because they need to get this break point back in quickly, because the United States on the verge of that 5-2. If they can hold this one, that is a pretty big advantage if they can get it.
I think against most teams, you wouldn't expect an advantage like that to make too much of a difference, but when you have teams that are this strong and this confident in their picking and playing ability, it makes it very difficult to expect a break point out of either of these two teams. So it is a rarity almost to see it happen. So the fact that we have one on the board right now for Germany, it's not the end of the world for them, but it's certainly not something that they are able to take lightly right now. And then again, you mentioned the United States being able to go into their own pick now. It's not do or die yet for Germany, but it will become that scenario rather quickly if they are not able to make this pick close and at least scare the United States off from going into this again.
Yeah, I think Germany, in the absolute worst case scenario of this map, needs to be that it's like 100k score gap or less. They need to keep this close in the worst case, just to try to keep their mental up and avoid that 3-point deficit feeling quite so demotivating. And then I think they have to go into DT2. I think it probably was the better pick previously, but, you know, that's a bygone now. No going back and changing that outcome. So, you know, you've got a stronger hidden roster this year, I think, for Germany with that addition of Kriller. So like you said, this does become a little bit more feasible for them. This United States hidden roster, though, they also bolstered hidden. They brought in Utami, they brought in Taquito. They made their hidden roster one of the best in the tournament from it being a strength but not so overwhelming in 2020. So we're going to see that in action here because, of course, this is going to be our first hidden of this match. So we'll see how the teams feel as we go into it. Map number 7. This is, again, another very big spot to be in. United States able to push it to 5-2. Germany looking to get the break point right back.
This is the point right here, and again, it's not do or die, but this is the time where the United States can almost lock this match in. They can start homing in on those, you know, final couple points potentially. If they do manage to get this pick, it's not over, but Germany, again, will be down 5-2 with the United States potentially looking for match point on their following pick, but not looking too good for the U.S. so far. Utami and Taquito both finding breaks. Not the two players you want to see missing on this.
I mean, after I just spent the interim period there talking about how they bring in these two hidden specialists and they're the first two to break. So we're going to have to see if they can get calmed down going forward. There's a break from Digital Hypno as well. That's the concern. But there goes Whitecat. That's his first miss in a little while, obviously, with the FC on the previous map and just the one miss back on Nomad 4. So we'll see if he can recover. It's a 3-way FC for Germany. The backing combo trying to get built back up behind Aryu's FC for the USA.
See if they're able to make something work here. Aryu does find a break. As I was about to say, he was holding up the United States. Good accuracy still from him, but it means nothing. There goes Taquito again. Oh my goodness.
So this is the United States putting up their worst showings of this match so far. And this could get out of hand here in a hurry here if Germany keeps this up. There go Aryu, Digital Hypno. Kriller, fortunately for the United States, does find a break. Utami with a bit of a combo, but Okinamo and Dust Ice just holding on like it ain't no thing. And Whitecat with about a 400 combo. And there's the breaks for the United States. They have no combo at all. This is actually going to be in danger of being a breakpoint right back very quickly here. Germany just saying, hey guys, we are not going to go down without a fight. There's a break from Dust Ice, though. Not a lot of combo anywhere on the board. Just Whitecat at sub 500. But that's going to be enough for Germany to keep this lead.
It's a very big lead at that. Almost 400,000 score over the course of a 3-minute map that is well over halfway done here. Whitecat just needs to be able to hold this combo, but he breaks alongside Utami.
Okay, so we've got matching combos on both teams. So it's still in Germany's favor. There goes Dust Ice, there goes Digital Hypno. So it's Aryu, Taquito versus Kriller, Okinamo. The combos are even. The score gap is 300k. This is really not achievable for the United States at this juncture. There goes Okinamo. Is there enough time, though? Is there enough score left? There goes Aryu as well.
No, yeah, I don't think there is.
The United States just not able to take advantage of any miss from Germany as they are finding breaks left, right, and center of their own.
I don't know what to say anymore. I mean, I get this is like the video definition of just a turbo int for like.
This map is just high-key intable, I think, is how I've seen it put. Like, it's very easy to break anywhere on the spacing of these bursts. And the United States and Germany both showed it. They're two very subpar performances, but Germany manages to come out on top nonetheless with the break point back. So it goes quickly right on back over to 4-3.
That was an unfortunate situation for the United States there. Not exactly what they were looking for by any means. a couple of standout performances from Germany, just being able to pull out there, and Kriller with that good performance, 646,000, really just making the difference over the rest of the players in the lobby.
Yeah, that was an interesting performance from a lot of people, but I mean, at the end of the day, Kriller coming out on top, 646k, 100k better than the next closest scorer, so gotta give him the praise there, as well as the rest of that team. Both squads not having a great time on that pick, really, so I don't know if we'll go back into like a hidden one based on what we just saw. And now I think we go DT2.
Yeah, this is surely just another DT pick from the German roster here. They've looked good on all the DT picks so far, even that DT1 and DT3 being vastly different maps and still showing their prowess on both of them here. The DT2, I mean, your only deterrent for DT2 is just that your team misses an Arison like double S's, and I think that's the, unfortunately for every team in this tournament, a very real deterrent because of how possible it is.
Yeah, I think even with that in mind, though, I think Germany is just going to be safer in their skill floor for that type of pick. That being said, they're going to the other pick that we kind of discussed previously after they won Hard Rock 2. We mentioned, I know I brought up Fremod 2, another small circle pick. Germany saying our precision roster is just that strong in this matchup. You know, we saw what happened. That Hard Rock 2 was ugly for the United States. They lost it. Germany won it, I should really say, by 736k. And now we're going to go back into, very aim-focused, but also with some streams on the back half in the Fremod, which Germany can overmod Hard Rock if they want to on this, I'm pretty sure, based on how good their precision looks, and they'll have a very, very real shot at tying this matchup here.
Well, if there was ever a time that you wanted to tie this matchup, it is right here on your own pick going in. They're going to make this right back to the way it started on this match here. Of course, we were trading back and forth, and now we're looking to do the exact same between these two teams again. They're just both so strong at their selected skill sets, and they know exactly what they're doing right now, and this is exactly what you kind of, expect to see from a match like this. These high-profile matchups, they're close, the teams know what they're doing, they're playing, relatively well on both sides across all the players, and I think, we talked about how that last map, you could kind of blunder a couple sections of that hidden map. This kind of falls into the same category, maybe not necessarily for those precision players, but those Hard Rock players, or the hidden players, the Nomad players, those, you start to get into that AR 8.3, that reading, and especially with the CS5 and how awkward the patterns are in this map. You can, over-aiming streams, you're looking for that consistency and aim control. There is just so much to worry about in this map.
Yeah, and it casts back to, again, last year's grand final pool. You had Ketsudan no Toki, the Hard Rock 2 in that pool, which was the CS 6.5 there. Kind of reminiscent in the aim patterning, if not in the streams. And that was another one that Germany was very strong on, if memory serves. So, this one brings in a little more variety, like we said. Brings in some streams, brings in a little bit more of an awkward aim component, but still, you've got to like Germany's chances here. I'm very curious to see what we get for mods, though. It's going to be hidden Hard Rock on Exarch, hidden only on Utami, kind of expected there. Over on the German side, hidden only will surely be on Kriller, and then Hard Rock on Duste. So we are going to see 2 Nomads per team, Aryu Fancy Lad, Umbre Whitecat, as those Nomad players matching up against each other in the middle of the screen. So this is going to be interesting. The United States with the minor overmod, Exarch choosing to go hidden Hard Rock into Germany's Hard Rock only on the German pick. And this is, again, every map feels so tense once you get to this stage halfway past the halfway point of the match. This is Germany looking for a 4-4 tie if they can win their own pick here.
Well, I think if there was ever a time to do it, they have the motivation and the ability to make it happen here. This is confident position from Germany. They had that break point down. They were able to take it back, and now they're right back into this match the way that they started. If there was ever a time to make it work, it's on slightly maybe a more contested pick like this one. Again, you really don't know what's going to happen between any of the players on this, Hard Rock or hidden alike. I think the Nomad players, if you're comfortable at lower ARs, this is probably the most comfortable, to go for here. But the potentials for over-aiming on some of this is just, like that on Fancy
Like
Lab.
that, yep, exactly like that. Yeah, those kind of linear patterns, it's very easy to just subtly miss-aim on some of those, and that is what's going to fall to Fancy Lad. And there goes Exarch as well. So down to just 2 FCs now for the United States, already almost halfway through this map, only 2.5 minutes long. And Germany now in a great spot, still holding the 4-way. The value of everyone on that roster is so high, and the United States is just gone. They just evaporated into the ether. Thanos just snapped his fingers and said, United States combo. What United States combo? It is gone. Kriller, Umbre, and Whitecat hanging on strong for Germany, looking like this is going to be a runaway pick for them.
Accuracies as well, just flying higher on Germany here. 99% on all 3 of the FCs. It's just Airyu for the US with some exceptional 99.91% here, but Utami finding breaks, Exarch finding breaks, and it's just Dust for Germany right now. Umbre does finally find a miss, but Fancy Lad to trade it means that there's absolutely no progress being made for the United States here.
This is just Germany living up to expectations on this pick. Kriller with the hidden FC still alive. Finally breaks at the end the instant I look his way. But Whitecat, meanwhile, holding down the fort. And this is going to be another big win for Germany on one of their own picks. So other than that hiccup on DT1, their picks have all been very one-sided affairs for them. And it is going to be 4-4. As Whitecat closes out the Nomad FC, the only full combo in the lobby. But shoutouts again, Kriller, 840k plus with Hidden, doing his part and assisting them to a 700,000 point win.
Massive victory for Germany there. Again, it came down to those Nomad players who mentioned just how difficult that Hidden and Hard Rock, any mod combination, is on this. And it really did prove to be that way there. Airyu and Whitecat, the 2 players to pull out all the stops for their teams there. Airyu, only 1 miss across the entire map. Exceptional accuracy. Whitecat, the only one to pull out that full combo. Exarch kind of going in and having to tank out the Hidden Hard Rock, a very difficult mod combination to have to go into. But he was able to hold it up fairly well there. We'll see now back to the United States immediately into that double time 4. I do think this is the only double time slot that is slightly more contested between these 2 teams here.
Yeah, this is definitely, if there was ever a double time that USA was going to pick, it's definitely for, these Kip Alt DTs that we've been seeing in this tournament have all been pretty cool maps, but definitely requiring some more finger control and, again, that kind of technical difficulty rather than the raw mechanical difficulty. And this one, one of the longer DTs, I guess they're all kind of in a similar length range, so 2.5 minutes. So we're going to see if the United States can right the ship here after dropping a couple points in a row from that 4-2 up to 4-4 tied.
Looking to claw their way back through a very slight lead at the beginning. The United States had some of that traction that I think you try and look for in a match like this, and I think especially given that the United States had the first pick and the first point on the board, it's a situation that they very much wanted to be in. Not only starting off with that, they have the opportunity to reach match point before Germany, but having that break point basically guarantees them their own pick to potentially close out the match if they get a break point as well. So it is the most advantageous situation if you could capitalize on it, but Germany just completely thwarted their plan here, and we'll see if that DT4 ends up being as contested as the rest of the DT picks have been.
Yeah, I mean, we saw DT3 not really a contested one. That was 1,000,000 points, but yeah, DT1
more contested than the rest of the DT picks have been.
DT1 was a fairly contested affair. You saw what Whitecat did there. This one, quite a different skill set required, though. And you can kind of tell, a little bit from the rosters. You see Fiery Rage coming in for a DT. It's not going to be, that high BPM, stamina requirement or anything along those lines. But it's going to be a big one here. As I keep saying, all these maps, once you get at this stage, 2 picks left per team. The United States will have 1 more pick in their back pocket after this map, no matter what. The question will be what that scoreline will look like when they get there, and they've got to win this one. They want to ensure that it is with a tied score at worst. A lot on the line here. And Germany, a team that's looked good on DT, kind of fumbling a little bit on DT1, but looking great on DT3. So which version of Germany is going to show up for DT4? That's the question.
That's what I think they want to know here, because this is something that the United States has been fairly good at for the entirety of the tournament. They haven't looked awful on the DT4s besides some unfortunate breaks just because of the awkward patterning of previous weeks, but kind of kicking it up to a little bit more flow aim oriented this week. We kind of had some more technically intensive ones, but Fancy Lad, Rising, and Kriller all with breaks. There you match is up now. 2-2 FPs once again.
I feel like a lot of these maps have been going this sort of way where there's a break from one team and just a break right away from the other side. Nobody able to capitalize. There goes White Cat, though. That's been such a key score for Germany on a lot of these picks, and now he's going to get score capped with that break being where it is, just past the 1/3 mark. Rising a lot of trouble here, down at 200k, a little bit behind. Kriller building that combo back up to try and help out Dust Ice, but it's a double FC for United States, and backing combo is there. And they're going to take a bit of a lead here. They're going to try to run with it. A couple 100,000 points coming up.
Yeah, not just the lead on that full combo that they have, but there goes Dust Ice as well. The last FC on the side of Germany, and this is just going to fly over to the US now. 2.5 minutes on this pick. Fancy Lad does find a break, but with Dust Ice having broken right before, there's really no gains there. There goes Rising as well. The United States just all too confident on this DT4 with Utami and Fiery Rage just pulling this through.
Yeah, you know, like you said, coming into this, these DT4 picks have been ones the United States has looked really good on week in and week out, and this one looks to be no exception. Fiery and Utami just making it look so easy, almost 99% AC FCs on both of them, and the United States just pulling away. It's going to be a 500-600 or more 1,000-point lead, and Germany just no answer, unfortunately, on this one. White Cat and Dust Ice kind of doing what they can, but it is going to just be a United States blowout. This is the kind of score that Germany's been getting on their picks. The United States finally making one of these blowouts happen.
Well, into the ending here, there is just all potential for the US to continue going here. Fiery Rage does finally... Oh, neither of them FC! What?
Oh, you hate to see it. Fiery and Utami both breaking within the last couple hundred combo. It's going to prevent it from being a 1,000,000-point win. But, you know, 900k or a million, it still is a demonstrative victory for United States. That is right where they wanted it. That's exactly what they needed after dropping 2 points in a row to just put their stamp on a map like that one. And now it is up to Germany again to try to respond. Down 5-4, you know, you pick second, you're always on the back foot if your opponents can win their picks, and that's where we're finding Germany once again here.
They're pulling through rather confidently so far, though they really haven't looked too flustered by anything the United States has been able to do here. And they've done very well for themselves to keep in the running, but I think as we progress through this match, they're going to have to be more careful because they do lose those confident picks somewhat. And once you start to lose those, if you're, you know, slightly concerned about the outcome of a match, you are putting yourself in a position of, you know, that you really can't be in here, especially having that second pick. Germany needs to follow up on whatever the United States does. So the pressure is almost constantly on for Germany, regardless. You know, the United States wins their pick and Germany knows, all right, we have to get our pick to keep into this now versus, you know, having that first map, you can lose it and you're like, all right, you know, I have my own pick now. It's time to just, you know, continue running through it. But they're going to... I mean, I don't know, DT2?
It's DT2, yeah. It's got to be DT2 because this is the last guaranteed pick for Germany. If they, you know, if you lose this map, the United States goes up 6-4, and if you're Germany, you might not get another pick. So this just, there's no way around picking DT2 here, and I think, you know, this was going to happen eventually, no matter what. You expect it out of the German roster, and it's a map style that they've been historically tremendous at, as we discussed. And we're gonna, you know, it's gonna close out the DT pool. This is the last of the double time picks. So Germany needs to come good on this one because it's gonna be putting them in a spot of bother if they drop a speed DT pick to the USA. But after dropping double times 1 and 4, the United States gonna feel maybe a little more confident about their speed than they would have otherwise.
Well, let's, this is, I think, I don't want to say it's the most different of the DT picks from what we've seen thus far, because, all three of we kind of bounced around a little bit, and that DT4 was completely different from the aim on DT1 or DT3 with the streaming, but the high BPM on that DT3 coupled with the stamina requirement of possibly a DT2 does make me think that the German roster here has a fairly heavy advantage here. Granted, Utami is far better at these stamina maps than he is at the speed maps, and I think that's something that the United States needs here. He didn't look too good on the DT3. Arison did, however, which means that he has a potential to replicate that performance alongside Utami. So I think, given the way this map could go, Germany's going to need potentially 2 FCs here in order to win this map.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's the potential for 3.7, 3.8 plus million points on this type of map from these teams, if not even higher. So you really have to put on a good showing. My eyes are a little bit on Rising here. He's had some difficulties on some of these picks that he's been in for throughout this match. He's not been as consistent as some of his teammates. So, his variance in score maybe a little bit higher than, a Dust Ice or KHC, who are guys that are going to come in for this and just nail it time and time again. And like you said, this one a little different than some of the previous DT2 picks in this tournament. Maybe it's something the United States will be able to keep in touch with a little more. Obviously, leaving it up and there is that first break from Rising, so I hate to be right about those sorts of things. You want to see the best performance out of the players, but he is now going to be playing catch-up for a while here, as the United States is going to take an early advantage.
Very confident accuracies from all the players on the United States as well. Even Fancy Lad, someone on the United States roster who has kind of struggled with stamina for the tournament up until now, is looking rather confident on this pick here. Not super high BPM. 240 is not, world-ending for a lot of players, even if you're not super comfortable with stamina. Utami is actually bringing up the lowest accuracy for the U.S. team right now, but it does stay close. It is still right there for both of these teams. That break from Rising is not the end of the world, but that break from Okinawa and Exarch keeps it even.
It's a trade. That could have been huge in the advantage of the United States. PG and Rising break. That might just send it. It's going to be an instant 400,000 point lead for the United States in a matter of seconds. That is a place you cannot afford to miss at exactly halfway through. That is tragedy that has befallen Germany. Arison, Fancy Lad, Utami just looking cool as a cucumber on that United States side. 99 act plus for all three of them, and they're going to have a break. They might be seeing that score. Germany knowing they've got a big mountain to try to climb, and they are not in control of their own destiny on this point anymore. United States has to blunder for Germany to have a chance at bringing this back.
I mean, yeah, and then Rising finding another break here, and I mean, you're asking Arison to miss on a stamina DT map. That's just such a big ask. We mentioned it before, Arison and Utami, and yeah, that's just gonna do it right there. Fancy Lad finds a break.
Yeah, so we're seeing, I guess, why United States was willing to leave this map up this week against this German roster. I mean, you look at this score, it's going to be a huge one, 3.4, 3.5 million. It's going to be 2 maps in a row by 900,000 plus for the United States, and they are on a roll coming in to the ending. It's going to be another break point. It's going to be Arison with a 99.6 AC. Full combo. He has shaken off whatever issues befell him earlier in this tournament. He is playing out of his mind on the maps that he is in for 1 million point win for the United States. That is just kicking it into high gear at exactly the right time.
Finals level match, and you have Arison coming in for your speed maps, and he is 2 for 2 on FCs right now with a total of 11 100s for this match today on both of them. That is the exceptional performance that you really, really want to see out of your speed players for a match like this. And, it's part of the reason that Arison was on the U.S. this year. And again, it's why I said that Germany really needs those 2 FCs to even have a chance in a DT2 map like that. You have Arison that's gonna come in. He's going to FC that map. Utami, an extremely confident stamina player, is just gonna come in and absolutely rock that map out. And they had Fancy Lad as, basically a bonus FC for more than half the map right there. Exarch missed once in the middle and recovered his entire combo at the ending. I mean, you need at least 2 people to be able to back that up. And we're going to go into the hidden one now, and this is the pick the United States let go last year. We're going to see if Germany can go for it this year.
Oh, man, this is danger all over. United States going back to what seemed like it might be a dry well, losing Hidden 3, but saying that's okay, we're gonna stay in this hidden pool anyway. We're confident in this strength. We're confident in the fact that we have a double match point, and we are confident in our hidden players to be able to perform a little better than they did a couple maps ago. This is a little bit of a risk, but at the same time, it might just be the best pick they had available to them here with not a lot left in this pool. This is the last pick the United States are going to have in this match no matter what. Win it, and they are on to the grand finals for something like the 7th straight time. And drop it, and you still have a match point on Germany's next pick, and they don't have a lot left in the pool for them either.
I mean, this is kind of that point of the match where, you know, you're out of your confident picks, you're out of your guaranteed maps, and I think you really have to start to branch out, and that's kind of what I mentioned earlier with Germany going for that HR2. We thought it opened up a couple more avenues for them, but then they kind of went back to the, their safe zone. They really, went a little bit more reserved after that pick, and they didn't really take advantage of all the information that they could have potentially capitalized on from grabbing that map here. But a hidden one for the United States, having, lost it last year in the grand finals to Germany. And, with Takedo and Utami not performing the best earlier when we saw the two of them find those first couple of breaks on the hidden 3, you have to wonder if they're going to be able to improve upon that performance here. I do imagine that I could completely envision Takedo F seeing this map regardless, but I can also see someone like Okinamo kind of rocking this map out right now. White Cat's been playing well today. Hollow Watcher in for a hidden map, I think is, Germany just kind of not having a fourth hidden player. Hollow Watcher is not normally someone you kind of think of on a hidden pick, but
yeah, I'm a little surprised not to see Kriller in for this over maybe Hollow Watcher, but we'll see how it works out. You got to figure that these teams know their best 4-man roster for any given pick. Digital Hypno coming in for the United States, maybe thought that would have been like an Airyu or a Fiery at this stage of the match, but it is what it is, and like you said, I think we have to expect better things out of Takedo and Utami. Two very early multiple misses from Okinamo and Hollow Watcher matched by Digital Hypno only, but this is a lengthy map, nearly 4 minutes, so there's a lot of time for things to develop over the course of this pick. And there's a lot on the line here, so also going to watch out for any sign of nerves from anyone in this lobby. A lot of experience goes into these 8 players, so it's unlikely, but it is still possible you get a big combo going, and you think to yourself, I need to keep this up, and maybe those little bit of nerves start to creep in and talk in the back of your mind. Keep it up. It's tough.
It's the type of map that you can expect some awkward breaks on, though. There are some really dense patterns in this that'll catch you off guard from having some fairly spaced bits before them. This is, compared to the rest of the pool, one of the easier maps in the pool, I think, and that's going to definitely play into the potential outcome here. Fancy Lad finding a little bit of an overaim. Again, I mentioned that density change, but there goes Utami and Hallow as well.
My goodness. Okay, things just got exciting here. It's 2 FCs and a big combo against just Takedo for United States. As Digital Hypno finds a break, he misses on air. And Okinamo and White Cat now look to try to run away with this here for Germany. Again, a lot of time. And Takedo holding steady, but they're going to need some help now on that United States side.
I mean, Takedo can't do everything by himself. Likewise, we've seen earlier in the match White Cat trying to win maps by himself, and it just doesn't work. But it is still pre-halfway in this map here, and they don't even have 100,000 score. It is going to start to push that right now, but there is a lot of map left to go. Almost 4 minutes on this one. Germany, while they are safe for now, need to maintain this performance, and it seems to be working. The United States, however, building up some combos. They do have to be careful.
They need breaks from Germany, and soon, though, because White Cat and Dust Ice are holding strong, and Okinamo just about 50 combo behind, not far at all behind those FCs. These breaks are going to need to come relatively soon, because you see that score gap growing over 200,000 points. There's a break from Digital Hypno. Okinamo, though, does trade it, but there goes Takedo, the last FC for USA. That is their shred of hope starting to fade a little bit here as White Cat and Dust Ice just keep on going.
There goes Digital Hypno one more time on a break. Fancy Lad and Utami now trying to do whatever they can, both of them with very good accuracy. Okinamo does break alongside Utami, though, and that, I think, is just going to be it. 300,000 plus score, pushing 400,000. Germany, Whitecat, and Dust Ice finally finds a break, but Whitecat, the savior of Germany, once again, alongside Hallow Watcher to match Fancy Lad.
This performance from Whitecat over the course of this match has been nothing short of spectacular. I mean, you can't say enough about how well he is playing. Hallow Watcher does finally find a break. It's a 400k gap with a quarter of the map, less than a quarter of the map to go. I don't think
damage is done.
Technically comebackable at this point. United States has to all four hold and hope for a lot of breaks out of Germany, but Whitecat's still got another couple 100,000 points in the bank, so it's going to feel good for Germany. And they're going to get an opportunity to send this to a tiebreaker on their own pick by all appearances here. Man, Whitecat is just not letting up. You can tell he wants this one badly.
Oh man, Germany. This is the point that they want to be at, though. This is now their own pick to go into match point as we come into the final notes of this map here. Whitecat versus Fancy Lad. Whitecat with the ACK lead and the FC is going to single-handedly hold off the United States as Fancy and Digital Hypno missed the ending. And Whitecat with yet another absolutely mind-boggling FC to drag Germany across the line one more time. And it is now Germany's pick into match point.
Who would have thought coming into this match, the United States versus Germany, the United States would win. The United States would win 3 out of the 4 DTs, and Germany would win both hiddens that were played. I mean, if you said those maps were going to be picked, I think the predictions would have been exactly the opposite of what actually ended up happening. But Whitecat just coming through in the clutch and giving them an opportunity to extend this match outward. There you can see what's left. It's Nomad 1, Nomad 3, Hard Rock 1, Free Mod 3. That's it. And I think this has to be one of those ones, but Germany, Nomad 3, Whitecat is the closest thing to automatic there is in this tournament on those alt picks, so that might be something that they're thinking about as well.
It absolutely could be. I think Germany does have a lot of confidence in him, but I also could see Germany possibly going for something like Hard Rock 1. And there it is! Hard Rock 1, the aim!
You always have to bet on Germany with these mechanics maps. They are so strong. Despite losing those couple of DT picks to the USA, this one just going to be a lot more into that aim-focused side of things. And I think this is a great last pick from Germany as they try to send this to that tiebreaker. Another lengthy one as well, 4 minutes. We saw what happened on that long-duration hidden one. Well, here's a long-duration Hard Rock one.
This is a weird Hard Rock 1, though. This is not your conventional mechanics aim Hard Rock 1. We've got some more I guess non-standard patterns. I guess, you kind of expect the Hard Rock 1 to be a mechanics favored pick, those players to go out and just, rock out the consistency aim. And I think that given that that is not the case on this, it makes it a little bit more of an interesting map to go into. Fiery Rage doesn't seem too pleased with this one, and that might be good for Germany right now. I think Fiery Rage would be one of the potential players for this map.
Yeah, Fiery Rage has been a pretty dependable member of that USA roster over the course of this match, so, to have him in a poor mental mindset going into a pick with as much impact as this one, definitely a bit of a boost there for Germany, but Fiery has found ways to perform well, even when, by all appearances, he might end up having a rough go of things, so I wouldn't count USA out yet. But, man, Germany on another Hard Rock is a tough task for the United States to try and win on. You see that roster. I mean, Whitecat, Dust Ice, Hallow Watcher filled out by Kriller, and it's again going to be Digital Hypno coming in, which has not always gone the greatest for the USA. I believe he has played 3 maps so far, and they've lost 2 of them. So, not saying he's a portent of negative outcomes, but it's not the best. But we'll see what happens.
When you least expect it, he will step up to the plate. And
Nomad 6 back in USC.
Look at it this way.
Is the one that's going to show up here again?
Look at it this way. It's tiebreaker potential. It's match point. You're on the opposing team's pick to win. I think over anything else right here, you want a player who is experienced in tournaments, is confident in their own gameplay, and will not shake on a Hard Rock pick like this. And I think that Digital Hypno fills almost every single one of those checks boxes for the United States right now.
Well, for the sake of the United States, I sure hope you are right. But Germany hoping that it doesn't end up making a difference. There's an early break from Area to start things off. Hellwatcher will trade it, though. As we get underway with a couple early misses from these players, a little bit of nerves will probably start to creep in here. But who will they affect the most is the question. And so far, it's staying dead even. There's Digital Hypno, and a Fire Rage, and Kriller. Okay.
Oh.
The world is being set ablaze. It was not Fire Rage. Fire Rage was a Bancho break. Thank you. Kriller, however, appears to have been an actual miss. So it's White Cat and Dust Ice taking on Fiery and Fancy Lad in that 2v2 on the board right now.
We've seen it before on the previous map. We'll see if they're able to do it again here. White Cat has had an amazing go of this match so far, and he's going to need to continue that on this pick here. There's a lot of pressure on him right now. He's been performing so well, and it's been a lot of the reason that Germany's won their recent picks. So, you know, God forbid White Cat, you know, doesn't pull out the performance now. It's going to be close, but he does have Dust Ice to back him up. Hallowatcher is an exceptional Hard Rock player to have on your team, and that's another big factor. And there it is from White Cat.
White Cat finds the break. Now, I was about to say, there's one thing that concerns me as Fancy Lad finds a break, and that is the fact the United States has 2 mouse players in for a 4-minute long, kind of awkward aim Hard Rock. That mouse drift is a factor that I think can come into play here as this map goes on. So keep an eye on those. There's a big miss from Kriller, though. Chain misses on the stream, and Fiery is going to start to be able to pull a little bit of a lead over, backed up by Aryu and Digital Hypno. The Fancy Lad break comes in, but it is... Wait, it was not a break from Kriller. His combo
was not.
Been recovered. It was not a break, so this is basically going to be dead even with a slight combo advantage to Germany.
It's halfway through the map right now. The next break, if it's soon, could decide quite a bit of this map here. And it's from Dust Ice on the FC from Germany. That's awful for them, and there's no trade on the United States.
Oh man, that is a big one. USA has the opportunity now. There's never much of a break in this map. Fiery and Kriller are gonna trade. It's Aryu, Digital Hypno, and Fancy Lad all with combo. It is a 60, 70,000 point lead. Not much. Aryu and Digital Hypno do have a pretty sizable combo advantage over White Cat and Hallowatcher, about, what, 300 combo, plus the Fancy Lad backing score. They can pull away here, but they all have to hold on. They cannot find breaks. It's so
less
close.
Than 100K. Any break can throw this. Hallowatcher has enough combo to claw this back, but they need Aryu or Digital Hypno to find a break before anyone does on Germany right now. We come into a stream section here. This is a big chance for a break. And it's Aryu! This could be it. There's enough combo. There's enough combo.
There is combo, there is time. Germany has to hold on if they want this to go. Dust Ice finds a break, but it's trade with Fancy Lad.
Misses! White Cat and Hallowatcher have to hold. Hallowatcher is the saving grace of Germany right now. He has to hold this combo.
And he is doing it. He looks a little shaky, but he's doing it. It's coming into the last seconds. Aryu is going to find a break. That's going to be it. Germany is going to take this in the last moment. We're going to be going to a tiebreaker. They have pulled through in the clutch when it mattered the most. Coming into the ending, it's going to end up being about a 200k lead with all this score at the end. White Cat and Hallowatcher, the duo for Germany to pull through. And just like last year's Grand Finals, Germany is going to take it to a tiebreaker against the United States.
For the second year in a row, this time on their own personal pick, Germany shows up exactly when it mattered most against a United States team who, putting up 2.7 million score on a Hard Rock 1, probably would have beaten 90% of the teams left in this tournament. And Germany clutches it out. And everybody, the moment you've all been waiting for the entire weekend, for the past 2 weekends, we are getting a tiebreaker between what I think are two of the most highly favored teams in this tournament. And this is it, a mechanics tiebreaker, no less.
And man, oh man, the way Germany just played on that Hard Rock 1, Hallowatcher Whitecat, oh my. This, if there was ever a time to say Germany were the favorites in this match, it might just be right now when it matters most at 6-all into the tiebreaker. This is everything. United States, that streak of winner's side grand finals appearances is now in true danger. Germany looking to make that first grand finals from the winner's side ever. I mean, you can't write up a script any better than what we're seeing here today. And I think we're going to probably get a couple minutes here before that tiebreaker is played. So hopefully everybody can just catch their breath a little bit, because we do have that tactical pause available going into the tiebreaker. Looks like USA is going to take it. So we're going to have a small window of time here to try to recover some nerves, to try to catch some breath, and to try to prepare for tiebreaker here in this winner's final.
I don't really know how you prepare as a player for a tiebreaker like this with nerves. Listening to this song, I think when you are sitting in a lobby and you are staring and have your headphones on, listening to The Abhorrent mapped by Mazarin, how do you calm down? How do you sit in this lobby? I don't know. I mean, I knowing Kriller, he's sitting here like jamming to this, and this is just, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. I think that, I mean, it looks like Germany has their roster set. I think this is a pretty good roster for this map. Likewise, the United States, Utami, this is a type of map that he's super good at. Fancy Lad, Airyu, both consistency. Taquito, you know we're going to be seeing a potential hidden score on this right now, and I think that's without question something that we can expect here. And there is already good lucks and have funs for both teams. We are getting right into this. No hesitation. Smallest break ever. The United States versus Germany. The return of both of these teams from last year's grand finals in this winner's bracket finals weekend. The United States or Germany, who will be securing the guaranteed top 2 finish?
I am prepared. This is going to be ridiculous. We see matching hiddens, Taquito and Okinamo both running that preference hidden mod. Utami, Fancy Lad, no surprise to see them both in. Airyu is going to be the 4th for the United States. Kriller, the rookie, in for Germany, joining Whitecat Dust Ice. Dust Ice, we're going to see breaks. Like, this is the type of map that I just don't think we're going to see maybe the most amazing of scores on a lot of people. But it's just going to be all about who can still be standing when they cross that finish line. And right now, everybody is just getting assaulted by the intro of this pick.
There's a dangerous part of this map, which is that it's very difficult to put up a consistently good combo or FC on this map. I think the best score we saw on this was actually Doomy in the show match for the veterans team, putting up well over, what, 600,000-700,000 on this map. And I think the dangerous part of not being able to hold consistent combos on this is that those carry players can really start to take a massive effect. I'm talking about people like Utami. I'm talking about people like Whitecat. Even Kriller right now holding right up with him as Taquito finds a big break for the US. The first major break out of both of these teams, but Dust Ice will trade it.
And this one's plenty long, almost 6 minutes. Dust Ice and Okinamo finding a couple breaks. United States getting that combo. But there goes Kriller as well.
Ooh.
Oh, that is so bad.
Germany just had a meltdown.
We're not very far through the map. There's a ton of time left. You see on the scoreboard, barely anybody even at 100,000 points yet. So that gives you an idea of how much there is still to come. But the United States is going to try to claw any advantage they can get out of those early breaks from Germany and just try to ride them out as long as possible, because that is all you can ever hope to do on a tiebreaker like this one. And man, Tommy Airyu, Fancy looking good. Whitecat still doing what Whitecat has been doing this entire match, but it's just a question of whether he'll get the backing combo and whether his team can provide what they need to. Another break comes out from Okinamo and Dust Ice. The Whitecat team backing is kind of letting him down here so far. The United States, 100,000 point lead is bigger than it looks because of how long this pick is.
This is very, very dangerous, and they have a chance to see the scores right now, and this could be either a very good spot for the United States. This is either a confidence booster for them, or it's, oh my god, we're winning, I cannot miss now, and if I miss, we have a chance of losing because White Cat is still FCing. So there's two scenarios, and we'll see on this next section who's able to hold through this combo right now. They're really relying on those three players from the United States right now. Taquito, with that hidden, is putting work in right now, but Kriller is matching up right alongside. Let's see. After we get through a little bit of a pause here, we'll see what happens. Client, this is literally the worst time. Literally the worst time.
Wait, okay. A fancy glad. Ooh, okay, we're gonna have to see. We'll
see if Colorado Net prevails.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what happens here. I don't know what's happening here, but we're gonna keep an eye out. It's still the United States in the lead. We're just gonna continue on as it goes. There's a break from Utami, but a break from Okinamo as well. It's a lot of combo for Germany. Ariu Taquito holding on. Fancy Lad, we're not sure. We have to hope for everyone's sake on the United States side that he is still playing.
His stream went offline. This might be very bad for the US. I am 99% sure Fancy Lad's PC has either crashed or his internet is gone.
Alright, well,
so now Fancy Lad is officially disconnected.
We're gonna see. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. There's basically no combo over on the side of Germany right now. Dust Ice is at about 1,000, but the others are pretty low. There's a break from Dust Ice. The United States could actually win this as it stands if Taquito keeps this up, and it would not even make a difference.
If Fancy Lad manages to reconnect before the map ends.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see. I don't know. We don't know. We really, unfortunately, we're going to be playing this a little bit by ear here. We're going to be keeping in touch with the management staff here to see what's going to be the end result. But for now, we're just watching as the United States holds on to their lead. Despite Fancy Lad's absence, they do have a 160,000 point gap, and there are breaks everywhere except for Taquito. He is the one keeping the United States in front on this with a ludicrous performance. He has the best score with Hidden by like 40,000 points over Whitecap, and next behind that is all over 100,000.
So we have to remember as well, for everyone watching right now, because Fancy Lad's client is still connected in the map, the United States has about 231,000 score because of his right now. That is technically missing from the MP link if he doesn't disconnect, which is basically making this dead even between the two teams right now. However, Taquito is going to very quickly make up that difference right now.
Yeah, this is going to be huge if Taquito can continue holding on. No, he does not. He does find a break. It's coming down to the wire, though. It's getting close enough to the end where I don't know what kind of opportunity Germany is going to have to make much of a comeback. There's another break from Dust Ice. There's another break from Okinamo as well. All three of those members from the United States trying to build back up. Ariu, Tommy doing all right for themselves. Fancy Lad is officially gone. And the United States are still showing currently as being in the lead as we come towards the ending of the map. The United States might just have this one regardless of what happens with Fancy Lad, which would be one of the most remarkable outcomes we've ever seen in any given map of an OWC.
Wait, it's still adding Fancy Lad's score right now. 500,000 plus 800,000 is not 1.6 million. So this is going to be close.
Okay, so I'm not really sure. We had a 230K...
I think they're losing right now. They're technically losing.
United States lose without his score. He had 230K on the screen. I mean, that was his last known score before the DC. He wouldn't have gotten a lower score than that, considering there's still like 4 minutes left in the map at that point. So I'm not really sure. The score is going to show in the stream. The score is going to show that the United States won. On the MP link, it's going to show that Germany won due to the fact that Fancy Lad's score is not going to be there. So we've got some ruling to do here as far as what's going to occur. I think. Sorry to kind of leave you guys in the lurch here. We're going to be seeing some decision from this on the back end. We'll get you guys an update on who the winner is of this match as soon as possible. It does appear that we have a known score from Fancy Lad of 236,000 points.
The United States has won.
Means that the United States
that score is submitted.
Yeah. That means that we have that score present of when he DC'd. That is going to give the United States the lead. It's going to give the United States the win based on his score at the time of his disconnect. That's all it took. He didn't need a single another point to have the U.S. win that after that.
Rather
so it's going to
close
be United States.
Score line, too. Look at that. Fancy Lab plus 200,000 score. The Germany actually won that pick by 138,000. So that is roughly 100,000 score difference between the two teams. That's with so Fancy Lad. That is a rather close tiebreaker pick here. But he's going to get us a screenshot really quick of that. This is, luckily for those that haven't been paying attention to the wiki, there was a new rule added that last submitted and seen scores are able to be used on this. So we are luckily going to have a chance to get that in here. The map has officially finished on the MP link there, and we are good to go. So I guess in order to close it, US. Woo! Let's go. Finally, we didn't blunder too hard. Nice job.
All right, so glad to have glad to have organizational staff available at hand to make these decisions at a snap judgment. It's like we go to the replay review booth up in New York, and they're going to rule in favor of that submitted score counting. It is going to be the United States 7-6. They are going to once again return to the grand finals from the winners bracket side. They're guaranteed top 2 again, which has happened every year now from 2015 onward, despite switching out 4 members of the roster. But can I just give a huge shout out to Germany for their performance in this match? It was amazingly back and forth and so closely contested the entire way through.
I mean, that was just the match that I feel like we expect to see at this point out of the United States and Germany. These are the two teams, again, I can't say enough, that are basically favored to win this tournament. And I think after this performance today, they're going to kind of keep that stance here. The United States being able to prevail in that tiebreaker despite Germany dragging them all the way there. And of course, Germany with that absolutely fantastic performance. Once again, they need to be proud of what they accomplished today. Regardless of the final outcome of this match, there were a couple of points there that could certainly have gone Germany's way. And I think, going through the rest of this tournament, especially in the grand finals weekend, there is so much more left for Germany to make happen here. Going through South Korea, a very difficult match in that losers bracket finals, and of course coming back up and having to potentially face the United States again or South Korea. We'll see how grand finals goes this year.
Yeah, Germany versus South Korea, the way South Korea looked in their 2 matches, yesterday and like late last night, early this morning. Them versus Germany on a grand finals pool, if they can keep up that performance, is going to be another banger. And then the United States going to be anxiously awaiting the winner of that one, because they showed today that the United States is not infallible, but they are still the team to beat in this tournament no matter what. So it is going to be an exciting grand finals weekend, to say the least.
Very, very exciting. But regardless, that does it for the finals weekend. That is the conclusion. This is now, to everybody who is either informed or not informed of tournaments, the top 3 teams left in the tournament remaining. The United States is guaranteed now a top 2 finish in the tournament. Germany and South Korea will now be in the losers bracket to potentially fight for that second place spot again for Germany, or South Korea fighting their way back after hiatus for a couple of years. They were a very high performing team for a very long time, and making it back to top 3 now is something that I'm sure that they are very excited about. Canada taking that spot the year before, South Korea the last time they were on the podium in 2019 with that silver.
And that was an exciting showing from South Korea that year. I mean, the United States obviously on the warpath back in 2019 with the Vaxei Idki just destroying everyone roster. But, it's easy to forget that South Korea had a great run that year and kind of back on top of things with, a couple of, one rookie in Doomsday Fanboy who's looked great, and, returning player Karcher, who, if you could pick a most improved player this year, it might well be him. That South Korea team, it's cool to see them back in the top 3 grand finals weekend here. And we are, just to inform here real quick, we are going to have a round about 12 to 15 minutes here. We'll have the Grand Finals Map Pool Showcase, which you absolutely do not want to miss. So we're going to hang out. We're going to discuss a little bit about this weekend. And then we will have that showcase coming up right after, just so everyone is aware of what's going on. Very exciting one that you won't want to miss. The Grand Finals Showcase, obviously one of the best ones of the year every time. So you will want to stick here for that. But yeah, man, I just shout outs to everyone that played this weekend, really, because we saw some absolutely great matches over the course of the last 2 days. The Canada United Kingdom, a little bit of, I think, a perceived upset win for Canada after how badly they lost to Germany last week. But making it through against UK with some really good performances. That was a super cool match to see. I think, that was the surprise of the weekend, really, to me, was Canada getting into that top 4 slot.
Oh, absolutely. And they had a rather close match against South Korea as well, a 5-7 finish on that match. I think, Canada was one of those teams, they came into this tournament this year and everyone kind of took a look at them and they went, a lot of the top players are missing, a lot of those big carries from last year, really not quite as prominent or, on the roster. And I think that because of that, they were, kind of pushed to the side a little bit this year. They weren't regarded as highly, and they came out here and they showed everyone, no, we have what it takes to get, a top 4 finish in the tournament this year, and they proved it to everybody regardless. The United Kingdom, an exceptionally strong team this year as well, succumbing to Canada even is, just a testament to how strong they looked this year. Finally, South Korea being the ones to knock them out, but it is something that I think that they can be very excited about. And South Korea can also be very excited about finally getting, again, that chance to prove themselves in that top 3 placement here. They're going to duke it out with that 3rd-seeded Germany. And we're gonna have another exciting Grand Finals weekend, I guess.
Yeah, I think that match is going to feature 2 of the players that I would be thinking about for MVP of this tournament, right? Whitecat, after his performance today, obviously just showing off what he is capable of despite the eventual loss for Germany. And Flying Tuna, as well as his teammates. I mean, Karcher, as I mentioned, has been an amazing player, but Flying Tuna is that guy who you put him in for every map and he always puts up a good score. So, the Flying Tuna against Whitecat matchup in that losers bracket final next weekend is going to be one that I'm very excited to see. I really am interested in what that pool is going to look like, because it'll be interesting to see if it favors either one of them particularly, or if it's going to be a nice evenly matched bout between 2 of the most prominent and best performing players that we've seen this year so far.
Yeah, those big MVP players for these teams this year really have been making, some waves, especially through the new players. If anyone was around this weekend for the veteran versus rookie show match, the veterans just barely prevailing in tiebreaker. They did do mixed teams, but the veterans just barely pulling that out against a rookie team mixed up of all those incoming first-year OWC players this year. And those are the players, again, you really have to kind of cherish if you're each of these countries here. They are your depth. They are the future of your country. So all of these rosters this year where you have those promising oncoming players, those that are performing super highly and that are really making big plays for their teams, are the ones that are going to be those carries in future years. And that's, a big determinant of how successful you're going to be in the long run. And I guess it's kind of, to speak, I guess one of the reasons that, teams like the United States have been successful for so long is those incoming players have just been so proficient in their skill sets. Germany, likewise, now just pulling through every year.
Yeah, it's very cool to me this year, especially, to see the roster changes that people have made to still end up with such strong performances. I mean, our top 4 our top 3 last year, obviously, USA, Canada, Germany, those 3 all in the top 4 again this year. But they had all these roster changes. You bring in Utami, you bring in Taquito, you bring in Kriller, you bring in Xylice, you bring in Muffin Slayer. It's really, really exciting to see, to use your words, the future of these countries. And the things that they're going to be capable of really shows that OWC is going to remain, I think, as competitive as this year going forward into the future, because you see Germany taking the United States to a tiebreaker grand finals last year, tiebreaker winners finals last year, USA looking ever so slightly more beatable, year over year as other teams continue to improve. And you bring in these new players, you get them trained up, you get them a ton of experience in tournaments, and you end up with teams that are ridiculously competitive, even if it's a bit unexpected. Canada, I don't think was a team that people were saying was going to be up in the top 4 again, and they surprised a lot of people with all these roster changes, losing Azer, losing Ryuke, and so on, and still making their way all that highly. So it's super cool to me to get, this new blood, and just exciting for the future of this tournament and the tournament scene in general.
How significantly more exciting than previous years. I think we mentioned it quite a bit, especially in that semifinals weekend. If you really do look back at the challenge bracket, you can see just how many close finishes we've had this turn. I mean, the amount of tiebreakers, the amount of 6-5, 6-4, 6-3s that we've had this year has been exponentially higher than in previous years. And I think a lot of the disappointment with the World Cup for a very long time was, just how not close this tournament was, especially if you watch any of the other game modes, Mania, Catch, Taiko. There is so much closer score gaps because of the scoring methods and the teams. And, obviously there are the other game modes who have, their United States quote unquote teams that win every year. But there is still the potential for those upsets exists so much more than it has in OWC in the past few years. So being able to come in this year and have those close matches, have an exciting tournament between all these teams, and have these contested matchups where Germany, almost knocks the United States down to the losers bracket. There's so much more excitement and build up for this. And again, and I think in future years, as these teams continue to change, the way this tournament plays out will continue to change. So, that's something I think that we can all continue to look forward to.
Yeah, and I'm also looking forward, I think, in that regard to some of these teams that we saw perform a little bit below expectations, but who had good predictions and had good teams coming in. We talked a lot about teams like Chile and France and Indonesia at the beginning of this tournament, and despite how strong they were, came in and underperformed just a little bit. And I think those are teams that are a little bit younger and a little bit newer, and are going to be able to continue to grow into the future. And so I think looking at some of those teams to try and join that next tier up, with kind of the blue blood teams like the United States, Germany, United Kingdom, South Korea, and Canada, so on, it's going to be very, very exciting to see if those countries as well can kind of continue to develop the newer players and try to grow. But first and foremost, again, the United States back in the grand finals again, Germany and South Korea meeting in that losers bracket final to face off against them. That's what we are looking forward to next week in that grand finals. Maybe a rematch of USA versus Germany. Grand finals last year, winners finals this year. Who's to say it won't be grand finals this year as well? So very, very exciting stuff to come next week. And just a great job and GG's to them on another amazing match, that 7-6. If you happen to get here late, definitely go back and watch all the way through, because it was a banger from start to finish. And it just bodes even better for what we're going to get to see next week in those grand finals.
Absolutely exceptional. Of course, please do go check out all of the videos. Our very lovely head moderator, Puffbuck, does a great job of cutting those all up for you every week, getting them all set up onto the channel so that you can watch back your favorite team's videos every week. So please do go over and watch those. Something alternate to mention as well, we mentioned banners for the entirety of the tournament, but those will be coming to a close soon. Friday of this upcoming week will be your last opportunity to get your banner to support potentially one of the 3 winning potential teams, or maybe your favorite team that you didn't get a chance to go for earlier. Again, those close before the grand finals commence this weekend on that Friday, so make sure you get a chance to go over that. But with that being said, again, the finals weekend has officially come to a close, and of course, with that being said, thank you to everyone who has stuck around for the tournament thus far. We are not quite done with the weekend yet. Coming up in approximately 1 more minute, we will have our grand final showcase. We have been putting work into this one for quite some time now. We've got some very exciting maps, some very exciting other things to show you today. Our pooling team is very, very satisfied with how this one turned out, as are the organizers, myself, and everyone else that works on this tournament. This is something that you should stick around for. You should call your friends in for, call your parents, your siblings, your aunts, uncles, everyone else in here. Make sure they're up and ready for this showcase right now, because this is going to be one that you absolutely cannot miss, and I can say that with 100% certainty. Of course, now we will be passing it over to our pooling team, and of course, fellow organizer Azer and OMG Force and Mazarin will be taking over for us. Gentlemen, welcome.
Hey, how's it going? One more showcase to go, and we got the people together. We've got OMG Force for one last showcase here. How's it going, man?
Yeah, finally, it's the end of OWC, and as you saw in the previous match, it's gonna be a banger. The next week is gonna be even better, I think, with a better pool, and yeah, I'll be excited to show you all what the players will play on.
Of course, we've also got Mazarin here as well, one of the more newer poolers in here. It's nice to have you on the showcase, dude. How are you going?
Hello, everyone. I'm really excited for the showcase.
Yeah, there's some good stuff here. I think there will be a good amount of good surprises. I think there's a couple maps that were decided pretty late. Lots of discussion happening still, even this morning, about some of the more contentious parts of the pools. But hopefully we got it in a good place. And that being said, we about good to go, I think. So let's get started. Of course, it's only right to start the grand final showcase with a classic combo of Barking Mad Dog on Buta Otome, but this time it's not Buta Otome, it's a custom Katagiri remix. Let's take a listen at Buta Moso. Alright, we've let that play out a little bit, so let's take a listen to what the story behind this pick is. OG4s, what's going on here, dude?
Alright, so we had a bunch of ideas of streamlining custom songs a bit more in the future for stuff that is, you know, not just a tiebreaker as we saw it last year. And we were thinking of some ideas of just making it work on what we wanted and what we expect to have, and if it actually works out in the first try, or how much feedback we need to give and stuff like that. So Mangomizer, who's taken over most of the custom mapping and like the context in that case, shout outs to you for helping out. We tried with Katagiri and thought, you know, we do have Buto Toma being a staple in a lot of the normal ones, especially when Baki My Dog is present. And trying it out here, well, with Baki My Dog and Katagiri, seemed like a good fit. And we did try our best, and I think it worked out pretty well. It's as normal one as you want it to be. But it is not really a featured artist song, it's not licensed for it. In the end, I did pay for it personally, because I thought this is really, I think this is pretty good to go for. To not just have, you know, a random anime normal one song, and actually have a Katagiri and a Buto Tome combination, which I definitely like.
Make sure everyone is thanking Forrest for saving us from anime.
Thanks.
I mean, it's so good. Honestly, Katagiri has been on such a roll recently. Of course, very recently doing the Grand Finals tiebreaker for Course Ace. Just this morning, doing also a custom for EGTS, a Taiko tournament that was just announced maybe 8 hours ago, and now this. So Katagiri kind of on a rampage right now. It's very nice to see. We'll be moving on now to the No Mod 2 slot. If you liked Free Mod 2 last round, you're going to get more of it. It is a Brimir map by LMT. Let's take a look at Pantheon of Forsaken Gods.
With a double S. Yeah, it's a double S. And I think this is a map which is probably best explained by Mazrin, just judging by how his quarterfinals number 2 went.
Yeah, so this map, it's not much of a step up in terms of BPM. It's only a single BPM increase. But in terms of complexity, it's a huge step up. It has a lot of tricky stream patterns. As you can see, it changes angles every 4 notes or even every 2 notes. And also, it has pretty much 2 different styles of streams in it. This part, as you can see, is pretty much linear, and then later on it switches to curvy streams.
Yeah, pretty reminiscent of the quarterfinals of just having more uncomfortable streams, right? There's a lot more aim control involved than just the Knowledge King or the Tomai Dragon normal 2s we saw in the last 2 stages. So pretty much going back to what is there in the quarterfinals, and we do have some other stuff in the pool to balance it out, but I don't know, people did like the quarterfinals one. Hopefully they also like this one. I think this was your favorite number 2 in the tournament, right, Master?
Yeah. This one is really awesome. I love it.
I'm really loving the variety of all the stream shapes in here. I think most of the time you're going to be looking at curved streams, but this is just it's very different.
Yeah, also I think this might have about the same stamina requirement as the finals one, so it doesn't really go up in stamina, mostly just up in sheer difficulty of aiming these patterns. So you could call it more of an aim map at this point.
Pretty sure the star rating is also lower, or about the same actually. I'm not sure if I'm mistaking it for the reworked star rating, but it's about the same I think, yeah. Because the spacing doesn't get much higher either.
Yeah.
But as you can see, the angles change way more.
How does he assess this?
I'm gonna talk about it.
It's 65 UR, by the way.
What?
Yeah, that's reminiscent of me playing a 5-star drum and bass song, yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Except this one is pretty damn hard.
Yeah, he shows no signs of discomfort at all in this replay.
There's a good chance we get to see a little bit more of Varvalion pretty soon.
Ooh, foreshadowing.
Yeah, got one more little show match in the grand finals. He may or may not be there. I think it's pretty interesting to get this map from LMT in a No Mod 2 context, because usually I think when LMT maps this kind of music, it's always in free mods or in hiddens, and it's always some like weird type of map, and it's very good for those slots. But I think this is the first time, at least in recent memory, that we get like a No Mod 2 out of him that is at least in this style. So that's going to be pretty interesting.
The last time it happened was in Courses 2020, I believe. There was like a 180 BPM, and that one was way too spicy. This one a bit toned down.
All right, another pretty staple name in the alternating mapping scene, I guess. Let's look at a Moth map.
Yeah,
it's Autoscopy from Yosei Teikoku. Always nice to see some Yosei Teikoku.
Man, I mean, if you remember Moth, he had a map in there, I think in round of 32 as a No Mod 3, and we pretty much start with the easiest No Mod 3 in the tourney is Moth, and you know what? The hardest one is Moth as well. This one, however, is custom, unlike the round of 32 one, and yeah, it's just really cool and an intense song throughout. This is one of the rare 3-minute alternate songs. Usually alternate songs are mostly in the 4 minutes bracket, which feels like a drag song. This one, despite being 3 minutes, does feel long, because as you can see, there's so many patterns. It's active throughout the entire thing. You have these really snappy patterns, like constantly, and then you have these accelerating and decelerating and just longer notes of chains of notes throughout the entire map, especially in the solo, where you just cannot stop. It almost feels like a stream map at points because it's so intense. Other than that, fun facts, we actually had, who was it again? Izumi D'Angelo planned for this slot. He didn't feel it. When we slotted him in for this slot, he actually sent this exact song, and then we just dropped it, got Moth on it, and he also suggested the same song. It was a really weird coincidence.
Honestly, with how much Isumir's been mapping this artist, it's like, it's gotta, you know, he's very good at it, but I think sometimes it's nice to see someone else do it, right? Like in the past, like 2 years or something, every time it's Yosei Teikoku, it's pretty much always Isumir. So we get to see a bit of a different take here, I think.
To be fair, we did have Denkari in last round, and it was Starstream, and then we had Lassie map too. That I think is the exact same band. Not sure, but I think the vocalist at least is the same.
That's true, actually. We did get a Lasse. Yeah, Lasse does a lot of, usually, again, kind of similar thing, though. They're always, like, hidden. So we don't really get to see these maps in this context. I think we had a Lasse, No Mod 3 in, like, 2018 or something.
Yeah, and then
on a song like this.
2019, we also had a No Mod 3, but, like, we noticed Lasse's mapping style fits best in a free mod context, mostly because it's very flow and heavy, so mostly stream heavy. Shout out to Emrek for getting the replay.
Yeah, that's another name you may or may not see a little bit more of. That's going to be the No Mod 3 pick, though, the last one of the tournament. And now for a little bit of a repeat performance here. We've seen this once before, except this time it's with someone else. Let's take a look at No Mod 4 by Halgo and Sharu. And it's a good old song by Citrus, Illegal Legacy. It's a weird name.
This map is pretty insane. This one has many slider streams, as you may have noticed from the build-up. It is very slider-based, but it also has very hard one-port patterns as well, as you can see, especially the ones with the kick sliders. You have to be on point in them with your timing, or else you will probably slide the break.
Yeah, it's pretty much as you can expect. If you see Halgo, you have a map or shower map, and if you put them both together, yeah, more reminiscent of the semifinals.
Look pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean,
there's some pretty nice slider art in this.
I feel like Halgo could probably write a PhD thesis on his sliders and
Yes,
why he
please
chose
do.
to go for Arbolic. And I'm pretty sure. Even Mazrin is stoked on some of these sliders, looking at the finals tiebreaker, being inspired by Halgo on some of the occasions.
Yeah,
Snowplots.
Halgo and Shower are really good mappers. I'm really happy we got them this year.
Yeah, and if you notice that, Cheryl might not be the Frenchman as Halgo is, which you expect on a Nomad 4 slot. So where's the real lazy Nomad 4 slot, Mazarin?
What?
Oh.
With French mappers and tech.
Are you pointing at the finals Relazy Nomad 4 incident?
Perhaps? I don't know.
Don't talk about that.
We don't talk about it. Okay, 3D rotating Yoshi. Alright, that's enough context. Yeah, but otherwise you see a lot of just aim control and fast sliders. Just be on point. It's really easy to break here. If you thought finals was hard, this one's even harder.
Have we had a shower map before in OWC?
Don't think so.
No?
Yeah, I think this might be the first time. Well, in any case, let's move on now. One more speed pick for baiting. It's a good one. Let's take a look at Bit Futures by Toybot. It's a fantastic collab with and Frums. I don't know how to say that name, so I'm just gonna say
Yeah. you know of AAA games, but do you know of quadruple A games? I don't know, dude. But it's the Nomad 5. It is a bit different from the last stage, where it was mostly just about very comfortable aim and streams. This one is a little bit spiky. It has like 2 halves and then a bit of downtime in the middle, but it's just 250 BPM, 10 BPM higher, just a bunch of bursts here and there, a bit of aim control here and there. It's not too comfortable, and they want third section, which isn't completely free. We'll see we'll see in the DT pool what's happening there because of the Nomad 5, but otherwise it's a different type of song as well, which is what's it called? The genre, like chiptune or something? Or?
Yeah.
I don't know, but otherwise it's a different genre what you expect, especially later stages with like all the metal songs you've seen so far. Maybe get a bit of variety in there.
There was definitely a period in time where this was pretty common for speed picks, right? I think I'm thinking of a lot of like battle maps of this artist specifically. We've seen a few of them, not so much recently though. It's nice for it to return though. I think one of the goals that is hard to stick to, but I think one of the goals is always to try to introduce a little bit more song variety, right? So especially if it's the same slot over and over again, there's some slots where that's just not possible. Like there's not really many song genres you can like map tech to, for example, but if it's just a speed pick, there's a lot more things you can go for, so it's nice to get something different for once.
I can already hear Mazarin being disappointed this isn't another metal song. We had so much metal representation in the previous movies.
right?
Haven't you heard Mazur's a tech mapper now?
Oh yeah,
He
sure,
graduated
sorry.
from metal.
Yeah, but for some reason he doesn't map the tech songs on tech.
I mean, it's pretty much tech. It's a Neurofunk beat in the background. This is a huge step up from last week. I'm pretty sure this is one of the highest star rating maps after the rework. I think it's nearing 8 stars, right? I think Toybot said so.
Oh yeah.
He checked in laser.
I want to say this was 767. I'm not quite sure. That might have been a previous version of the rework, but yeah, the rework is pretty friendly to this map.
Yeah, so far I think the star ratings at the bottom are taken locally from the OS game client. So, whatever you see locally is what you see at the bottom. So it is not the new star rating, it is the old one. Just for any players who are used to the star rating numbers, that's what you expect at the bottom.
You might be familiar with Nomad 6 if you're a Taiko player, but you're definitely familiar with the mapper if you're a standard player. It's a Yaspo Nomad 6 in the grand finals, baby. And this is something. We had to bring out a core for this one because, yeah, I mean, you'll see why. It's a pretty solid continuation. I think this is a very good continuation from last week, where it was a lot more about swing rhythm and just a lot of active stuff. It's just the same thing, but on crack.
Yeah, in terms of complexity, I think it goes down slightly, but it does make up for it in density because it has even more active rhythm and yeah, basically just does the swing, throws the swing rhythm at you non-stop.
And worth noting, so it shows this BPM is 280. Most of the song is going to be in 1/3, so it's not really 280, but it's extremely dense. I think there was still a little bit of debate on what we wanted the AR on this to be, but we settled on 9.3. Felt like the best place, but even then, that's pretty low for a song this fast. It's really low, so for how complicated some of these patterns can be to read, there's definitely a solid element of like density reading that's present here beyond just the rhythm as well, right? So
there's also multiple factors going into which makes the players feel as it's more higher density, which is the circle size 3 here. If you notice, if you go lower approach rate on small circles, it definitely feels different than lower approach on bigger circles. So next to that, just having the pattern complexity on this as well, it definitely has a bit of a reading aspect to it. I'm gonna probably just expect Germany to ban it every round. Yeah, that's the resident Germany ban potentially, but we'll see. Maybe they practice it and think, oh, this is doable. But otherwise, the background behind the normal 6 rhythm slots, you know, we tried last year to go for like a rhythm complexity increase every round, and it's just not possible. You cannot find rhythm, like game songs or like just songs in general, that have a step up and don't have too much downtime. And you like scale the amount of snap-ins and different snappings they have and get more complex instead of just going Sputnik in normal 6 again. And that's a bit too predictable, right? So we did just opt to go for something rhythm focused and just scale it up, add more aim control, which is kind of what we did with finals, and here we go with grand finals. A bit more aim control and reading added to it next to the rhythm.
yeah, I think in terms of the rhythm choices in this, just the song in general, there's like a fine line that you cross between what's predictable and what's not. All of this is still very predictable, right? Like, you can learn this. It's nothing too uncommon. There's no weird snaps at all in any of this. It's just really fast. So it's a bit of a different element of gameplay that I think a lot of people might be getting used to, right? So I think by now we're used to IL type picks, right? So you talked about Sputnik, where it's just a lot about like really weird snaps. None of that here. It's just really fast. Moving on to the hiddens now. Maybe Mazarin should introduce this one.
Oh, right. I was actually wondering what the hidden one is going to be, and I totally forgot it's actually this.
By the way,
Yeah, I was about to alt-tab into the bullshit and check what the hidden one is. Yeah, so me and LMT collabed this for, what was it? I think it was Attorney hosted Laconia, I think it was Clever Cup. And yeah, we mapped this as a hidden one, and it was pretty much fine, as is, for OWC. And compared to last week, it's a step down in BPM, but it also has way lower AR, and it also features really long circle chains and really awkward angles compared to the last week's.
Yeah, it's pretty much as you said, a lot of pattern aim, just a lot of intensity throughout the entire map. One thing we definitely need to take a look at are the longer chains of jumps. So if you're out of it for a second, you can kind of save yourself. It's not quite like a stream map where if you mess up once, you chain miss 9 notes, but you can chain miss 2 notes or 3 notes on some of these jump patterns if you try to chain miss, which I wouldn't recommend you to do. But otherwise, still, as you can see, lower star rating than a lot of the rest of the pool. Don't underestimate this map though.
Some people might have noticed in chat, Savada's gotten really good at hitting recently.
Changed his playstyle too.
Yeah.
I'm always a fan of taking existing tournament maps already, right? There's a lot of work that goes into a lot of the other community tournaments, and I think it's always nice to just start reusing them slowly. I think like a lot of effort and a lot of like balancing went into those things, and it's nice for them to have purpose in more than just one tournament for one weekend, right? So giving it a little bit of a second life here. We've been doing it a lot with Corsace maps as well, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, if there's a really good tournament map which got created, and I think that's one of the core issues I think of custom mapping is being able to harness like just creativity and make it happen, while you're literally forcing them to say, literally going, hey, map this and be creative. Which is, you know, not a recipe for having a creative product at the end of the day, right? A really good one which has a lot of thought put into it. So it's really hard to find like really good bangers coming out of custom mapping. Usually also done with like time restraints. But when you have one, and those are done with tourneys, and you think it'd be a good tourney map as well, I mean, what's the pain or what's the problem with reusing like this? It's a good map, just keep using it, no problem.
Alright, another bit of a staple name here for the low AR hidden. It's Ice Cult time on a cranky song of all things, and this one is honestly I was gonna say it's pretty spicy, but it's not too spicy. This one I felt was very, very playable. I think this is a very accessible low AR pick for a lot of the players in this.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Savada replay again. Play it. I mean, it's no biggie.
Even then, like, the song doesn't have anything weird into it. Like, there's some weird time signature stuff going on. Like, there's some sections that are 5/4, but you don't even really play around it or notice it at all. It's just mostly just a lot of linear aim at low AR, right? So nothing too weird.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you think of all the hidden tools we had so far, we tried to put in variety into LWC. And you saw some like CS5 Taiko-esque map with the Flask Runner 16 hidden. You saw some more Teppy focused ones, but not Deathstream focused because people really don't like those. So we tried to like have a bit of variety there, while still keeping it in, well, the progress of being approachable for people. The thing is though, once you get to the really high levels, and when you don't have doorway present, does it really make sense to put in a complete death reading map in there, which has to be practiced for days on end? That is something we can discuss afterwards in the player Discord. But right now we have a more standard hidden approach to AP, which you see in a lot of tournaments. It's more aim focused, a slight rim if you need to, you know, check out those 1/2 or 1/1 gaps, but otherwise it's pretty much in line of what you expect in a lot of tournaments in terms of hidden 2.
Savada, man. What happened?
Maybe it's for the better that Savada isn't gonna play another pool this Odyssey. You know, we don't want our playtesters to also be skill cut by the pools, because then we just have no opinions on stuff.
Maybe we should get FG Sky to play these instead. I think that sounds like a good idea.
True, yeah, let's get FG Sky. We gotta invite him next year. Yeah, with shout out to Savada, who was the newest addition to the playtesting team this year. He was able to take over most of the speed picks and opinions on those. And, well, apparently he's also a hidden main now.
Pretty good one at that.
Yeah, OWC win.
The main challenge with this one is just going to be how long it is. It definitely... There isn't any spikes or slow parts or anything, but yeah, no, it doesn't really stop for 3.5 minutes. So testing your linear aim consistency, there'll be a little bit more of that later on. But for now, one more hidden map, and it's real good. It's a Nathan map, and it's a song by Rishu and Choco, and this one will get stuck in your head for a very long time. I'm giving you a warning right now.
I mean, just looking at the replay, I think this would maybe be a map I'm gonna pass on to you, Aza.
Well, I forgot I did this replay. Sure. We haven't really seen the main parts of this here, but there's going to be a lot of 1/3. Honestly, this is definitely more of an aim map over anything else. There's not too much rhythm complexity in this or anything. It's just some of the rhythm during the courses is a little bit odd, but you can learn it very quickly. Most of this will just come down to a lot of aim. You can already see a lot of the snappier parts of this. But later on, I think when the song really kicks in, I think a lot of this is more of a free section for a lot of players. But once you get halfway in, it's you're on your own. Good luck.
Yeah, the background behind this one is because we already have normal 6, and a few other maps in the pool, we did want something that is not speed gated, but still slightly spicy, right? So slight rhythm complexity, but not too much, just enough where you don't have to keep on the same speed throughout the entire map. This one having a longer 1/3 section pretty much helps that, which is gonna end up being a bit aimey. It's pretty much a mix of a lot of skill sets, and so it's a lot less obvious who's gonna be really favored on this one, but I've got an inkling.
It's the aim players. It's the aim players.
I'd say if you like the last week's Hidden Freedom, this is probably a good map for you as well.
This is your alt aim players coming up right now. Definitely the hardest part of the map for a good 30 seconds here, so. Also the part that's gonna get stuck in your head.
Oh, copy-pasted patterns at the Panda. We need a
These are mean.
Yeah, just a bunch of 1/3 here. These are pretty much around 240, 250 BPM-ish snaps. But yeah, now this one's oof.
Alright, after this you can relax. That entire section is just so insane. That's why I'm saying I think this is mostly just going to be an aim pick if you have your alt aimers, because I guess that's a bit of a different thing. This is where they play. I think the rest of the map is relatively a lot easier than that section, but yeah, it's a really good map. I'm pretty happy with how this came out.
Yeah, I'm happy with this one too. It's really fun actually. It does a little speed up here in the end, but it's not enough to speedgate anyone, I don't think.
I don't know, there's like 250 BPM 5-note bursts. I don't know, maybe.
It's nothing.
If I can play it, probably not.
Double tappable.
Alright. Hard Rock One Time, It's More Aim by Skyflame. What's the story behind this one? Because I think this is an existing map.
Yeah, it is, and you were actually looking for a comfortable aim map due to how the whole pool turned out. We were only missing a Hard Rock 1 and 3-mod-3 at one point, and yeah, we needed more comfortable aim, and we basically thought, why not go with Skyflame? Because he does comfortable aim stuff well and high star rating. And we looked through and found this map and went with it.
Yeah, if you remember back to the Nomad 1, Baki Dog, obviously he does smack pretty comfortably, but you do have a few inklings of slight uncomfortable patterns, as you can see some of the squares and just the active 1/4 sometimes. This is definitely more along the lines of just being that this is your aim map and only the aim players will play this, and it's comfortable, so whoever is the best in raw skill will play this. Because we don't want the pools to be too biased for anything niche or really uncomfortable aim.
When I first linked this map to Force, I think he compared it to Louder from 2019 OWC Nomad 1. If anyone remembers that. It's also a Skyflame map from the same artist.
Yeah, but so far we have 3 maps of Skyflame this year around. It is again, I think Skyflame did map Hard Rock 1 last year and the year before, so
Definitely a bit of a staple. Wouldn't be
yeah,
surprised.
so it wasn't planned. I think this was one of the newest editions of like 2 days ago or 1 day ago. We actually were like, okay, I guess we do need to go for Skyflame again. Okay, you know, it kind of reminds of the Isamir D'Angelo tiebreakers of finals in the recent years, right? Where you always in the finals you had like Isamir tiebreakers, mostly because we couldn't find anything, and then Isamir submitted a new map which is like, wait, this is the right difficulty and it's kind of consistent. Okay, I guess we go for another Isamir D'Angelo tiebreaker. Right? I don't know, man. I mean, if you get served do these maps on a silver platter, just take it.
Yeah, I mean, the formula works here. I don't think anybody's going to complain about seeing more Skyflame.
Yeah, to be fair, we only had 2 other maps from them, so... And they were both Nomad 1s this year, so I think it's fine, yeah.
Just one custom, right? So we did try. Hopefully we'll see Skyflame in the future in other slots, though.
Is this the first Hard Rock one that isn't like an old map? Do we have one that wasn't an old map?
It was pretty much impossible to find one for a 7.5 Nomad 1 pool
Yeah.
at this point.
Super Soaker wasn't too old, right? I think we had Super Soaker.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
that was 2020.
yeah.
Yeah. That was the only one.
We were considering Hates the Rise, but it's just too spiky.
It's the rise. Oh no.
If only Bartek was here.
Man. Society if Bartik was present in metal showcases. I miss him already.
And I think the whole like old, non-custom Hard Rock one has been mostly an effort from Bartek, right?
Yeah, Bartik really likes putting an old night twist in it, which obviously I'm not against at all, and neither is in Mastering as long as the map is fine. And sometimes it wasn't ideal, or sometimes it just wasn't possible to get a perfect tournament map as an old map, because that's just the way it is. But all ranked maps work out really well as tournament maps, but we tried our best, and we hope that players did enjoy that old map twist which Bartik added to the pools. Also, this one is one of the more consistent or consistency-based picks. Nomad one is about 3:30. This one's 4 minutes, 20 seconds in total playtime.
Yeah, it's a bit of a marathon. Moving on now. Let's take a look at the precision pick by Cloyd. This is hard. I guess it depends on who you ask. This has been a little bit of a polarizing pick, I think, internally. We're not quite sure where to land the difficulty settings. There's some parts that are hard, some parts that aren't for some players, some different players. So you might see some people be really comfortable on this, but also maybe a lot of players that you would expect maybe are not able to.
Yeah, but when we talked about starting the easiest normal 3 being Morph and the hardest normal 3 being Morph, well, we kind of started with Cloyd in Harder 2, and we're ending the tournament with Cloyd Harder 2 as well. And once again, Cloyd delivering pretty well here on this map. It's more of a stream-focused map, not too spicy, so we didn't really go for the mega cut stream approach because we have enough aim control already with the Hidden Free, if you remember. And who knows, maybe there's some other maps which have some aim control, but this one was planned out to be more comfortable, but still some spicy stuff here and there. Also a bit of shenanigans.
Largely due, just to cut you off, this stream here I think is the map. You can keep going. I just needed to say that.
Yeah. I mean, I want to say quiet. Just fabuling in the stream. Just take a look at this. What Cloyd map streams? The map. This is the Cloyd had. I think the first version actually was even spicier, but we toned that one down because it wasn't quite what we wanted. So this one is actually less spicy than it initially was.
Yeah, so there are some players that are really good at this kind of thing, and there's not a lot of representation in World Cups usually because Precision will be more aim, but stream aim picks is just not something we've seen a lot in Precision. It used to be really common. You think of people like Silver, right? And maybe like 2015, 2016, there was like this like era of a lot of these picks. It's been a while since we've had them, so I think some people are going to shine very nicely on this map, but it might be pretty hard for some others to keep up. Moving on now to Hard Rock 3. I freaked out a little bit when I saw the song first. If you know of a particular KTG Start map, because it's kind of hell, but it's not that map. It's gonna be a custom by Il Jazz, or otherwise known as Perching.
Yeah, with this one you might be familiar with the map already from the Nomad 6 in semis. And initially this was planned for semis actually, and he made this map and it was simply way too easy and there wasn't enough time basically to make it proper. So we basically moved it to Grands and did a little bit of buffing and ironing out, and it eventually worked out in Hard Rock as a more space pick, I guess.
Man, which instruments are we gonna use in our next song? All of them. That's how I feel like the songs like. It's just all over the place and just so active, and rhythm complexity is gonna be represented by this pick rather than the normal 6. Mostly because if we try to one-up the finals normal 6 in rhythm complexity, or like difficulty in with the same rhythm complexity at least, we have to go high BPM and then we speedgate everyone. So rather have something like this in Hard Rock 3 and go a bit of a different route in normal 6. So if you have your normal 6 players here, enjoy the rhythm complexity pick with OD10.
You can expect some A rank FCs on this most likely. I mean, maybe not. It's grand finals, so the teams are pretty good, but I think yeah, it's really tricky. Also, there's a lot of very difficult rhythm that isn't even mapped. Like, I don't think it's possible to map it and make it playable. There's just so much going on in the song, right? So you kind of have to be a little bit selective as to what is being mapped, and it still ends up being so active and ridiculous with the rhythm choice, right? So here's your act pick.
Yeah, if you don't practice this one, expect to get a V rank.
It's not too long though. It's kind of nice. It's very condensed. Let's move on to the double times now. We're going to be seeing these this infamous duo another time. It's a Mirash Delis DT1. What?
Now we finally have Savada actually playing what he came in to play. Which is the DTs, and this DT1 is, well, the Delis Mirage combo. Difficulty remap, sorry.
Yeah, ignore that.
This map also has a bit of history, but it's not too comfortable, but it is still tried to be as comfortable as possible. Well, as comfortable as a Delis Mirage map can be.
Every Delis X Mirage map has a bit of a history.
I feel like we can write a novel just out of every interaction with Delis and Mirage and just sell it.
Actually, true. Compared to last week, it's quite a big step up in terms of BPM. but I'd say the spacing is slightly lower, except the Kiais maybe. There are some larger jumps. But overall, it's very active compared to last week's. There's way more circle chains, they're very longer, and there's also more bursts. So it will probably speed gate more people than last week's did.
Yeah, a fun fact, the ending of this map used to be speedier than DT3 was. and this was actually planned to be a Dallas Mirage Mastering collab. But what happened to that?
Yeah, basically they picked the song and I just dipped. No, I don't know how else to put it.
Yeah, I mean, I respect it, you know what? I'm okay with that. I think the first song was Sunglow, and then Mastering is like, guys?
No.
Team? What are you doing here? Didn't we want to collab? I don't want to do this. And then I think they met like a minute of it, and like, then you responded like, oh no man, not feeling this one. Oh man.
Yeah, because they put like Wiggles on 270 on triples.
Well, when you put Dallas and Mirage together and you just leave them to their own devices, you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, this map just spawned out of nowhere. I don't even remember seeing like a work in progress even.
Yeah,
There was like Sunglow one day and this the next day.
Kind of reminds you of Down when you okay a song and then a day later he's like, here's an in progress, 3 minutes out of 3 minutes 20 seconds mapped. Okay, thank you. That's some progress.
The preview.
Yeah.
Got the whole map except like the slow outro.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest, we thought that's gonna be mapped, but he actually thought it's finished. So like, okay, we take it.
All right, so we've been seeing a lot of DT2 and 3, so let's see what we're going to be seeing every match most likely. Now Tomori with the DT2 on the Nightwish song. Bit of a throwback.
The background changed. Yeah, this is your... Yeah, this is your stamina pick for this week, and it is actual stamina compared to last week. It has way longer streams, but it is a bit slower. As you can see, it's 246, but it more than makes up for it, I'd say, in terms of a stream length. It does have a lot less finger control though.
Yeah, pretty much what you expect out of DT2 this tournament. Last week was a bit of a switch up, this one more along the line, so if Germany picks it, they're more likely to win it. Don't check my PayPal account. I might need to go into hiding if anyone checks that one. Otherwise, yeah, it's what you expect. There used to be a interesting background which had bigger circles than CS4, which we deemed to not be friendly. Yeah. But should be rushing into the fingers. Not anywhere else.
It's a Now Tomori classic.
A fun fact, the background, he knew what I was gonna get into. I think the background was called Boober and Hans. So I'm like, okay, he knows.
Of course he knew.
Anyway, we have Snake now.
Snake.
Savada probably FC'd this like 10 times.
Yeah, this also went under a couple changes, right? So.
No, I don't know, he just kept seeing it like every day. It didn't even like get changed much.
Warms up, sees it, yeah, it's so good. Next day he still sees it, yeah, it's so good, okay.
Man, this ending is brutal.
Just tap the circles, man. I think Germany will feel right at home for this one.
Yeah, probably the next pick as well. It's DT3 to Map. Mo makes his return to the World Cup mapping. It's a song by it's a very long name in Japanese, but I think they also have an English name, which is Emily's Moonlight Serenades or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, it's the token speed map. It is pretty much a step up from last week, and just higher BPM, slightly higher BPM, not too much. More bursts, and more bursts. That's all I can say. The last one was on the shorter side. This one is pretty much just that. Maybe a bit longer and just slightly longer bursts. So you do see a bit of higher difficulty with the added consistency aspect to it all.
BPM is also a bit higher, right?
Yeah, like 3 BPM higher, I believe. Unless the BPM is lying, but no, this is the BPM taken from it. This should be fine. Yeah, this is 273.
Yeah, Mo mapped Ayla last year for qualifiers. That was the didn't one, I believe. It was more of a name control thing, but this year we got him for a bursty DT free slot, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, Mo is one of those mappers who's really good at mapping in general and really creative, which is why we tried something like the Hidden One last year, which needed more time and more experimentation, which we did have this year on, and we figured it would be a shame if Mo didn't come back for something, because just a really solid map overall. Jesus Christ, like.
Okay.
Look, I'm a slightly dyslexic. I don't want to talk about it.
He's tired.
I'm gonna
He's
shut
been
up
working
now.
hard today.
Man, I don't wanna. You don't wanna know what happened last 3 hours. I'm done.
Yeah, someone asked if it's a featured artist, and I don't know if we did mention it or not, but yeah, yes it is.
Yeah, it's been a pretty. This artist has been in the World Cups for a couple times now. Also, I think always in grand finals or finals or something like that. In pretty different slots as well. We talked about last day earlier. I think this is one of the maps I did. I think in 2019. It was also by this artist. It's actually quite nice to be able to fit a lot more featured artist songs in this with custom mapping. Right, there's like such a big library of songs that we can pick from now.
Yeah, but then you add to the fact that the mapper also needs to like the song for it to work, which definitely shrinks your pool of maps or pool songs you can pick out of quite a bit. So I think we're probably like 3 years down the line for probably a 100% FA pool. But that's not my problem. It won't be my problem to get a 100% FA pool.
Yeah, I think we're slowly working towards that. Alright, there's your speed pick. One more DT to go. It's gonna be do you call this alt? Do you call this tech? I would call this tech. It's a real lazy mirror collab on a Nusao song. This is tech.
Yeah, in terms of BPM, it's pretty similar to last week's, but the patterning is really different, and it has a lot more complex patterns, as you will see soon. There's way more than just those cuts, yeah. Pretty much has everything. There's triangles, there's those wiggles, there's finger control stuff, and there's the infamous double patterns.
Oh no.
Dada's favorite.
And Dada's favorite they are. I mean, Mirror and Relays is a collaboration we do remember from last year, looking at O parts, right? Or missing parts in that case. This time they return not in the Nomad 4 slots, at least for Relays here, but in the DT4 slot. Does feel different from the last few DT4s, which felt more like just glorified alternate maps at some points, but this one just adding that slider aspect as well, and you know, has this shorter 1/4 patterns at times rather than the longer streams in last week's DT4.
Finally moved them both away from Nomad 4, dude.
Can't map 160 in those maps if it's on DT already.
there's also been this DT4 slot has kind of changed a lot week to week. Sometimes it's more alt, sometimes it's a lot more aim control. I would say it's pretty much always aim control, at least in later rounds. But yeah, I think there's a couple of players that really enjoy playing this type of thing, and it's hard to fit it in every round, I feel like, so it's nice to be able to fit it in sometimes.
I think the basis of like DT4 and its existence can still be played around with a lot. Finals was one of those tries with the DT2, or like DT in general, can be maybe refined and made more, add more variety to it, but it is hard, as you can see, where some people did miss the DT2 stamina pick last week.
Alright, let's move on to free mods now, and this, if you like linear aim, or linear patterns, this is the final boss of that. It's KTGster on Flats by Second by Consum, and wait
Wait
no.
a second.
We swapped these.
We swapped.
Oh no.
Just kidding. Alright, ignore all that. This is a Falcon sound team. Of course, Jonathan LFJ Falcon sound team. Always a bit of a staple as well. Somehow he just always finds these maps, right? Like, I don't know how big the song depth of Falcon sound team is, but you can always rely on Jonathan to map that.
Yeah, I mean, first, Jonathan is definitely one of the, I don't know how should I put it, Falcon sound team salesmen. And there's other people slowly joining that, actually, right? I think you saw the Mordred free mod 2 stages ago, I think in semifinals, which was also Falcon sound team. So you do see a lot of people just kind of joining that almost cult at this point, which I completely agree with. I think there should be more of this map, and it just works really well. Like this one, for example, is so varied. You see the jumps, it's the density pick in the first half, and then it just goes, wait a second, I'm an alt map now. And it's so interesting how many varied songs here. Yeah, you see alt map starting. It's the 156 BPM alt map now. There you go. Enjoy this one.
Worth noting, the AR on this is very high. It's a 9.8. It should be really comfy for no mod. So I think you could probably think of this as a very hidden favored map. Most likely. Hard Rock looks pretty difficult on this.
Yeah, it is, but we will have pretty hard hidden maps as well for free mod. With that stream. We got Badude.
But I specifically did not go for this replay because I said I couldn't go for the stream, and then we got Badu and he just double tapped it anyway.
Yeah, well, it's doable, right? And that was one of the concerns, that you don't want this to be speed gated, so the stream length is low enough, so you just, if you actually can't play it, just double tap it.
It is worth noting that's literally the only stream in the entire map, right? So that's not really gonna affect anyone, I think. It's not like it's super high BPM. This is what, like it's like a 230 stream, maybe like 225. It's not the end of the world. And, I mean, as you see, if somehow it is the end of the world, well, you can double tap it. Alright, you'll never guess what the next map is, guys.
I wonder what it is.
Take a wild guess. Hey, look, it's a KTGster map, Flat by Second by Consum. It's having a little bit of a deja vu moment, I'm not sure why. But yeah, this is, as previously mentioned, if you like your linear aim, it doesn't get... I don't know the correct wording. I'm not sure if I should refer to this as better or worse, because it's really, really hard. There's a section that looks like it's 3 stars, I swear to God, and it's the hardest thing in the game, okay?
Do you mean the insanely long chains in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really brutal in hidden, especially.
This is such a weird skill set. I don't even know how to describe it. A lot of the map is a lot more tolerable, I would say. Like, it's a lot more accessible. It's your typical, like CS5 Air 8, although this is not Air 8, it's 8.5, because this patterning is impossible on Air 8. I believe it used to be Air 8, if I'm not wrong.
This is exactly why I suggested KTG stood for something late round, because he makes really hard to access gimmicks sometimes, and I thought it's pretty perfect for grand finals, for example.
Yeah, we had something similar in 2019. Oh, just look at this.
Okay, so this entire section, this map is super Hard Rock favorite. This entire section.
He just cursor danced like in the middle of a half beat. What?
Yeah, wasn't happy about that miss, but man, this map just goes for this entire song.
This part is impossible. It's impossible. It's 3 stars though.
I don't know, just aim the circles, man. This is way lower spacing than No 1 I don't see the issue here. But this entire song and map combination is just an entire mood, I feel like.
No problem for Badu though.
I think oddly enough, I think the best players for this map are they're either going to be old map players, because I guess that was sometimes a thing, right? They're a lot more comfortable with their flow aim, or really fast aim players who are going to snap to literally everything on this, because the combination of like Axel, decel, but also like complete 180 direction changes is just so unusual. I've never played a map like this.
It's so fun though.
It's really fun. It is. It's a ton of fun. So it's a fantastic map, but it's really hard, especially on hidden, most notably. So here's your Hard Rock favorite pick, most likely. One more free mod, and you might know this one. It's a good old Miss Magius map. It is Black by Toby Fox. The thing is,
Wait, they didn't rename the. Okay.
Please read the difficulty name. I beg you, Acer, please.
no.
Take the stage. Take the stage, Acer. Come on.
All right, we're playing Mazarin's Extreme Edit. The lore. So the lore behind this one is, again, this is similar to Hard Rock 1. I think we were having a few difficulties figuring out what was the best possible pick here. We went through a lot of maps, and this ended up being a super last minute thing, but Miss Magius himself could not apply the changes. So we got permission from Miss Magius to apply the changes ourselves. So when this map is uploaded, it will officially be by Miss Magius. But for now, you're looking at Mazarin Extreme Edit, because technically Mazarin mapped this.
Yeah, there's apparently a riot in Brazil, and he couldn't, like, physically couldn't apply the changes or submit them. So yeah, you have this instead.
Yeah, hopefully Miss Magus is staying safe, but otherwise...
Anyway, about the map and the changes that we did, though, because it's pretty short.
Yeah, the changes, as you can see, the map is mostly aim control based, and it has a lot of flow aim, especially. It has some jumps that are pretty large, but we did adjust them so they're smaller. Mostly the jumps, yeah. And yeah, it also has accelerating streams that can probably be hard and hidden. But it's also not easy in hard rock. I think it's pretty balanced, I'd say.
Alright, now I think the biggest and most important question is, why do you have a 4 instead of an A and a 3 instead of an E and a 1 instead of an I? Did you copy face Hargul's Dark Extra or something?
Exactly.
Oh no.
Was the
Face
idea
Dark
behind it.
Hargul. Oh man. I respect it.
I think the optimal way to proceed is if Miss Magus just uploads this map but keeps the diff name.
No. Please, Miss Nagius, I beg you.
Yeah, but as for the nerves, the patterns are the exact same. I just tailed them down pretty much, so they're not like full screen jumps here and there, and some of the wiggles were a bit too extreme.
Yeah, shoutouts to Reedcat for a very last minute replay as well. This was done like maybe an hour before showcase or something. Like, it was very last minute.
During the match, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Oof.
All right, well, you know, the World Cup brought us parts last year, and it's fair to say that was a pretty good success. You know, paved the path for about a year's worth of custom tiebreakers across many community tournaments, and even some other game modes. We've seen EGTS recently have a lot of success with them. So I'm sure you're all wondering what we have this time around. You know, Grand Finals tiebreakers are often considered the final boss of the tournament, so it's always the hardest map. You know, only the best players are going to be able to play it, so it's nice having nice having that, considering a ton of other games also have similar things. You know, you've seen a lot of boss songs in other games.
Man, tiebreaker time is always going to be the most interesting aspect. It's always like the finishing touch of tournaments. And despite the tiebreaker being pretty interesting, I'm still waiting for my MSI motherboard. I might find it though.
Yeah, we're all waiting for our motherboards, man. I don't know, where are they? But yeah, you're right. I think it's like the ribbon on top, you know. It's like you package the whole thing. It's 140 maps or something, and you know, this is the little the sticker on top, the welcoming party. But yeah, I mean, I think we've had enough waiting. So we've been cooking this up for a little while now. Let's take a look at the OS World Cup 2021's last boss. And there it is. It's Thunder Rafts. Here's your grand finals tiebreaker. Additionally, though, before we even talk about it, you saw it briefly bottom left. This is also a Yu's welcoming party to the featured artist. And what a way to enter.
Yeah, if you took a look at it, we tried to improve in every single way possible from last year. We had way more time this year around for the reveal, for the mapping, for quality assurance, for everything. And if there's one way of topping last year's, I think this is the only way. You get an FA release with the custom song at the same time. I don't know how we will top this next year, but for now, I'm only thinking of this year.
I'm not sure what you can really do beyond this. I think we can just hope to repeat the same thing, right? So, I don't know. I think this is the top. It's, I think most notably about the map, though, maybe you've noticed it's a lot more playable than a lot of these other Grand Finals tiebreakers that we've been seeing, right?
Yeah, it is way more playable compared to Uparts or the Corsair's tiebreaker, for example. We didn't try to go as hard as those did because we figured we don't want people capping out at 400k or so in Grand Finals tiebreakers, and so we went a little bit easier. And yeah, I think it's really playable. And compared to the Finals tiebreaker, it does go up in complexity a lot, but in terms of raw skill requirement, I think it's very approachable for every player.
Yeah, there's some FC potential on like a lot of teams on this as well. Like, it's approachable enough, so I think this should create some, hopefully create some good moments. You know, if it's played, I'm hoping it gets played.
Yeah, and shout out to not having 180 BPM 1/6 in the map. At Real Lazy. Sorry. I don't know what came about. But I really want to thank Yo and you for the amount of effort you put into this and listening to our feedback and making a lot of changes, which obviously is pretty hard when you have a creative product like a song and you just need to change BPMs and like sections slightly. It's daunting, right? But Yo, I think, delivered really well here, and it was a bit of a challenge speaking with him because he's Japanese, so it's you don't want anything to be lost in translation, and thankfully nothing got lost in translations. Everything we ever wanted is present in this tiebreaker.
Yeah, they were so cooperative, so it's very nice to have him on board. That's about it, though. That's every map. That's the grand finals done. That's the entire tournament done in terms of map we'll showcase. What are you feeling about that?
I'm gonna take a long vacation. Long vacation.
It's well deserved.
Man, I don't know. Mazarin might be there next year, but man, you won't see me in the same presence this next year as I'm this year.
Are you done?
I think so, actually. Yeah, I think mostly I'm pretty happy with the way the pools were done this year. I'm still gonna be present to help out with the organization of like how to approach stuff, but I don't think I will be this much hands-on on the pools as I'm this year. Depends on the managers on what they want me to do, but otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the pools this year. It's been a long time. It's what, 4th year of pooling this time. Started off with just normal ranked maps and slightly dipping into that custom mapping, and I think this year we definitely improved on those ends. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with the pools, and I think I'll join Half Slash in the retirement home.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna pull a Half Slash and become an advisor. But I mean, as both a player and someone who's been a little bit more involved in pooling recently, I do want to sincerely thank you for all of the great map pools over the year. I think you've done a fantastic job, and I think this pool this week is no exception. Very, very, very solid.
Yeah, and my last gift is gonna be the Nomad 1. Put into the vault. Feel free to map on the 9 to 8 star version and put it in vault.
I'm sure there will be. your AR-10 edit.
Key up version.
Nightcore version. Oh no. Oh, to see that one.
Secret lore.
How about you, Mazarin? This was your first time on OWC, really, right? So you have a good experience?
Yeah, it was a great fun actually. I love pooling.
Yeah.
I didn't mind it at all. And I don't think I'll let Force go that easily.
Oh no.
Neither will I.
Yeah,
No,
but I
don't
do
worry, John.
want to shout out all the people behind the scenes who worked out. Some of them aren't even listed, all the playtesters. I did mention them at the start of what you see, but some people joined, like Savada and Crystal. Even though he didn't do a lot of feedback, he still helped out on the picks he was present for. And just Mazarin for stepping up from the mapper role to the playtester role. 2 map pools selected in like a week. And Bartek for always giving his opinions, which are really valuable as a player, and playing through every single pool. It was a blast. A lot of the playtesters definitely helped make the pool what they are today. And I don't think I would choose my team any other way, this year at least.
Yeah, I think the diversity of opinions really helped us out overall, because Bartek's opinions really helped us out to flesh out the pool in a way that even more people can enjoy it, I think, instead of being biased towards something in particular.
Yeah, there's some lessons to be learned over the years as we do more and more custom pooling, and that not necessarily conflict, but just having very different opinions is really good, because players have different opinions and some like different things, and you know, you have to learn how to fit everything. So I think so far this World Cup, I think, has fit that slot pretty nice. I think like we've had a lot of variety, not in terms of like songs or like mappers or anything, but just like an entire like map genres and the things we focus on, the slots and stuff. So I think it's been pretty successful. So looking forward to seeing how that's going to change next year and seeing if you guys end up coming back. It's worth noting also one more time. It's important to note because it's the last time you can. This is the last time you can get your profile banners. Realistically, there's only 3 teams left in the tournament now. This is, I think, up until Friday is the last time you can get your banners. So if you want to see more, you know, more commissioned content, like the two things that we have in this pool, well, you know, buy a banner helps support the tournament and goes towards the prize pool. You know the drill. Everyone knows banners by now. Hopefully, every single one of you has a banner on their profile.
Yeah,
But-
and you can get the cheapest pants possible while subscribing to the Twitch channel. You get the Peppy Pants emote. Who would want pants?
I haven't seen a lot of that actually. We used to build full peppies. I think there's.
True.
I don't have it anymore. I think, but yeah, you can assemble your own peppy. But anyway, that's gonna be it for the stream for now. Map Pool Showcase is done, so there's only 2 grand finals matches remaining, as well as a show match next weekend, and they're going to be fantastic matches. Here's all of the maps that are going to be present in that match, so hopefully you'll like the viewing experience, but I think for us that's going to be it. So thank you again one more time, Forza and Mazarin, for stepping in and doing all the work that you've done.
It was a pleasure.
Indeed.
But we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Goodbye.
See ya.